Yo, what is going on, everyone? This is Robin, and we are not live yet. Okay, now we're live. Yo, what is going on? So, yeah, I was about to debate my boy again. What the hell? That is a lie. That's not the stream title that I put. Still debating Israel. And you know what? By the way, I don't know why YouTube just keeps fucking lying about. It's not even the fucking dude. I changed that. Uh, fuck. I guess Israel debate. Yeah, it fucking lied about the tags I put into. Dude, YouTube doesn't stop lying about literally everything all the time. It's fucking insufferable. But yeah, I was gonna debate my boy. We clearly still have a lot of disagreements on a lot of things, but no, he's going to class, so you know what? Since I really want to stream a great number of those. Well, the thing is, it doesn't really matter if they got to vote. If they got to vote for Hamas, that is like not an act of violence because you don't know what these people are going to do before you vote for them. Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, you just go and elect somebody. You don't know what they're going to do. Like, pinning like, the whole point of saying they couldn't even vote. Like, look at them, they couldn't even vote. It's just to, like, put more pressure on the point that, hey, like, these people have nothing to do with that. Like, you're gonna say, oh, well, they voted for Hamas. Well, they didn't even vote for Hamas. A lot of them weren't even alive back then. But, you know what, since I can't really get this debate going, I might just change the title to Debating Random People on Israel if I can actually get this to work now. Okay. I'm not banned from this server. I thought I can see it. Okay. Is there anybody in any voice chat anywhere? Okay. Let me see if anybody wants to motherfucking debate on Israel, dude. You think that's gonna happen? Well, you know what? I don't know, but in the meantime, I have my weed, but I'm not really gonna touch that right now because I also have other drugs. You ready for this? Wait, this still works? I have an extra vape. I didn't even know about that. Oh, fucking cool, dude. Either way, here is my Jägermeister. Uh, some pumpkin seeds for the omega 3s. Always love those. It's like, I love how I watch, like, the type of food that I will eat. Like, to make sure that I eat, like, healthy foods. Because after all, like, if you're vegan, you might as well do that. Otherwise, like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? If you're gonna commit to, like, not committing animal cruelty, for example, like, at that point, you might as well also do that because it's just gonna be in your favor. That, like, that diet is just better as long as you do it well. So, but yeah, I love how at the same time I ate earlier today. That was my first meal in like 2 or 3 days. I don't know. Like, I just take a lot of my prescription pills, and since I do a lot of drugs, it's like trying to be healthy in my eating habits. What I barely ever eat, and I just do a lot of drugs, right? Like, yeah. So as you know, I'm a moron, but what can I really do? You don't really choose your level of intelligence, but you can choose to just give the best insight you can offer based on your intuitions to the world, and that's like, what else are you gonna do? So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm not sure. Do I have to? Is it a debate chat? Portix is one channel called Portix. You'd imagine his whole server would be Portix. Does Destiny talk about anything other than politics? Is that even a thing? He might talk about whatever video game he... Okay, anyone want to debate on Israel? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna change that to, like, debating a bit of anybody on it. Nobody's gonna see this shit, dude. They're posting it like such a...
Good man.
Yo, what's up? Does anybody want to debate on Israel, by the way? I'm just wondering.
We're debating on, like, Ireland.
I'm going to be studying what is it, environmental science.
Oh, nice. Where are you going to do that?
Yeah, okay. That's great.
Married people in the place they were in. We like people didn't.
Okay, but
always
I
that,
don't.
That's why you have Jews that look similar to the places
Yes.
they were in.
Okay. I don't want to
They converted
get
them,
away.
or they
No. I don't get away with your Jewish religion, but obviously, like, ethnically, like what's the ethnicity part? Like, I don't understand. Even again, I told you that we have
the Jews married between themselves, so over generation they developed an identity.
But they also may wed outside of that and may have children outside of that, so the ethnicity part is gone.
Yeah, but let's say Germans mostly marry other Germans. Do you agree with that? That Germans have a very identifiable genetic component.
Okay,
but
let's say we don't do that, which obviously Jews also do not. Like, Germans do wed and get babies with other people, so obviously these people are not.
Just
you still have a very.
Like, I don't understand that.
Okay.
Like,
whatever. There was one person. Hello? Are you AFK? Is somebody here? Great. Fuck this shit. We're not doing any of that. That's like hella cancer.
There's all kinds of people out there with all kinds of preferences. And like the distinction between that being a preference, an expression of a preference, and an expression of a prejudice is like really fine, I would say.
I don't think that it is. That's very clearly not racist.
But actually, yeah, I became more emotional.
Yo.
Really? Like, just overall, permanently?
Yeah. Yep.
That's not good.
Anybody want to debate
more
Israel?
Like in tune with my emotions and more outwardly emotional.
Interesting. Like so more like a woman is what you would say.
That's very important. You're experiencing with the characters. You're not just yeah. I agree with you. What's up, Roby?
Yo, what's that?
This
Anybody?
Is what the Sopranos here, like, you know, the best TV show ever.
Anybody here wants to debate on Israel?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
No, man.
Yeah, I was guessing. Anybody want to debate fucking anything, dude?
No, we're having a conversation.
Okay, peace. Music room. Well, that sounds like... Fuck, I don't really see how I'm gonna get to debate anybody today. No, I am not. Nobody fucking cares. So what is this? Hamas is trying to clamoring. I should know what that word means. If I wasn't like a dumbass, I would probably. Dude, I still haven't found that kid. That's fucking. I mean that clip. That's insane. Okay, well, there's another Yeah, dude, I have hundreds of those on my other computer, dude. Okay, let's just keep that for later anyway. What was that? So that means screaming for Israel's destruction was established long before the inauguration. What is that referring to? Most people who voted for them probably, yeah, was established long before the inauguration. Well, I mean, there's a very big difference. Maybe some of them were on board with Israel shouldn't be a state because they saw them as occupiers. They probably didn't know that Hamas was going to not give a shit about their own suffering, like about their own humanitarian standards, per se. And it's like that sort of goes hand in hand with Hamas being ruthless. They don't even care about their own citizens. Like nobody saw that coming. Some of them might have agreed, and maybe not because they were awful, hateful people, but just because they thought, yeah, like these people, like they are oppressing us, and we need to stand up for ourselves. Like that's probably the opinion that a lot of these people had if Hamas was saying that and they were cheerleading them. They were probably like, yeah, we were occupied, we were all there with the victims, just like Israel was doing that. Dude, Jaeger is the best almost. With a leader. I don't want this debate to be just like in text, bro. I hate this shit. With the leading participants in previous violent uprisings, people knew that Hamas was going to do what they voted for them. So what was that? Like do October 7th? I'm pretty sure Hamas's I mean, for a while, their credibility or their reputation went up in Gaza, but yeah, like as soon as Gaza started like being leveled and shit, and Gazans realized, yeah, Hamas sort of knew that this was going to happen to us if they did this, and they did this anyways. As soon as they started realizing what was going to happen to them as a result of that, and Hamas then's going to happen to Hamas, like they're safe at home, just like Netanyahu, he's safe at home, while like the escalation of like his ethnic cleansing might get us to like might get a lot more Israeli people to become victims as a result of the escalation. Like he's safe at home, same thing for Hamas. Yeah, when people start realizing that, they start so yeah, Hamas's support, I think, is plummeting with Palestinians now. But it doesn't matter because they're dictators. Meaning that, especially if you're going to claim that people are responsible for the leaders they have, when these leaders have legit gone dictatorial, like, did the people want, I mean, they voted for them, did they want them to become dictatorial? Is that something else that they just saw coming? They knew about that? It's like, I don't know, that I don't think you could really blame anything that someone does, because unless these people are explicitly saying, this is my campaign promise, I'm gonna kill all of the Jews, and I'm gonna kill all of you too, because why not? And I'm also gonna make sure you can't vote for me anymore, or for anyone anymore. So if you're voting for me, you're ending your right to vote. Don't think they would have won if they had gone with that line. But that said, that being something I said probably like 5 minutes ago. Yesterday I did promise that I would eventually try Kratom, and now I have it. So the guy told me I need to take like at least 4 or 5 of these pills to even feel it. But apparently, I don't know if I heard it from him or if I looked it up, but stimulant and narcotic properties. The fuck? Like, what is this? That sounds really weird and really like some that wouldn't be sold over the counter. But $12.99. That's how much I paid to make y'all happy. I'm just kidding, to make myself happy and to satisfy my own curiosity. Well, that said, before I start taking them, I should probably look at what this is. Like, I guess it gets you fucked up. I'm not that fucked up. I was just driving like a few minutes ago, so I'm never drunk on anything if I'm going to be on like driving, because then I could be committing murder. So yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. So I only had like maybe 15 minutes to even start getting fucked up. Like, I didn't get nearly as fucked up as I could have been, but let's see. fuck, like, am I just gonna have to react to videos? Because now I don't really know what to do. There's nobody who I could really debate. There's... I mean, the great thing is, nobody's really watching, so it's not like anybody's expecting anything, and I'm just fucking holding them back. Then, yeah, dude. And how do you win an election? By pandering to the people. You've seen this with Trump. You've seen this with just pandering to the people, saying, we'll make your life just so wonderful. This is gonna be the new revolution. This is, and like, and in the end, what do you know? Hamas doesn't care about these people's human rights. They just don't give a shit. Like, what do you fucking know, dude? Like, that doesn't mean that these people, they knew exactly what was coming to them and they were playing the checkerboards. Like, dude, no, regular people don't get to do that. They don't know all the context. They have a lot of misinformation spread to them. They only hear what they hear, know what they know. They don't know everything. Excuse. Okay, dude, that just sounds like lip-taunt whining, to be honest. It's like, yeah, I get it, Elon. It's like, even if Elon is saying fuck the Jews on Twitter, even if he is saying that, nobody's agreeing with him, his fan base isn't agreeing with him. It's just like Kanye having bipolar and being retarded. It's like tough shit. Some people have mental disabilities. I don't think Elon has mental disabilities, although he disappointed me a lot from when he initially took over the platform. I was like, dude, this guy is super smart and he's being just slandered by everybody, but they're really making fools of themselves. But then as I started seeing how he's running the platform, it's like, Jesus, dude, this guy's not at all who I thought he was. Like, what is this? But anyway.
All right, y'all, welcome to the show. So today I have, I'm all over the place. I got some interesting and funny stuff, and I also have...
yeah, and I said I would look up what the fuck that even is. Kratom. What in the fuck? Yeah, as if they would sell that to people so that they could take it so that they could get nausea, itching, sweating, dry mouth, constipation. It's like, okay, dude, that doesn't seem biased at all, dude, at all. Why would anyone take something to give themselves diarrhea and fucking, like, this drug fucking, makes you gay. Okay, researchers have found that people report using kratom to alleviate pain, Nobody gives a fuck, okay? What this... I don't give a shit, okay? I'm bored of reading this fucking dog shit. Nobody cares. I'm just gonna watch
devastating and heartbreaking stuff. So we're going to start here with a look inside of a hospital in Gaza that was destroyed by Israel.
He told me to take at least 4 if I'm going to feel it. I want to take 5, but I don't know what the substance is. I don't know if I'm going to regret it. I don't know how long this lasts. So you know what? I'm going to take 4. I'm going to be a little bitch boy, and I'm going to take 4 because I'm already on a little bit of alcohol as well. So I don't want to be too much of a retard. So let's go ahead and do that. Dude, I really wanted to debate someone today. I'm fucking mad I can't do that, dude. I really wonder what the hell this is going to do to me. I really hope it's not just some bullshit, just some garbage. Really hope it actually does something. Otherwise, I'll be like, fuck, dude. There's a lot of them in here, too. Well, whatever. Let's go. Four pills just went down. Now, hopefully, I'm not gonna regret it. Hopefully, I am. Because that makes for more fun of experiences to look back on.
Some on-the-ground reporting here to share with you on that. We also have the new Republican Speaker of the House, his extremism.
Okay. Yeah, think so, dude? Okay. Oh. What did I just stand up to go get? What the fuck? It wasn't just my pumpkin seeds. Okay, look. Oh, I remember now. Watch me go get it. Dude, my room looks like camping again. Like, this is just insane. Bro, by the way, do I even have my vape anywhere? Do I even know where I put my fucking vape? Is this shit real, dude? Am I this stupid? No. No, okay. Yeah, no. Thank you so much. Here's my vape, dude. I got it. Amazing shit. Dude, I'm probably gonna die within the next, like, I don't know, like, 5 years of an overdose or something. I really don't want to, but, like, to be fair, I don't know how I'd cope with people around me dying, so, I mean, I hope it doesn't come to that. I really hope I can make a comeback, but, I mean, I just have to realize that reality is a thing, and, dude, I need to also shut the fuck up because this is meant to do with the topic.
And exposed in old audio tapes, and this guy would talk into the microphone as if nobody was listening. That's how extreme this dude is. We'll get to that. We'll also get to what I think is fair to call the dumbest Fox News segment you've ever seen.
This guy would talk into the microphone like nobody's listening. I'm not sure I get what that means.
I know that's a high bar, but you're going to have to take my word for it until you see it. This is wild. And then...
Wait, what happened now? What did they do?
You've ever seen? I know that's...
Oh, what? Bruh.
Listening. That's how extreme this dude is. We'll get to that. We'll also get to what I think is fair to call the dumbest Fox News segment you've ever seen. I know that's a high bar, but you're going to have to take my word for it until you see it. This is wild. Okay. And then we'll also get to George Santos spilled the tea on Congress. Very similar to, I don't know if you remember.
George Santos spilling the tea like Mitt Romney. Now that sounds unexpected, to be honest. But actually, I could sort of see it. Oh, it's probably gonna be like a lot more than Mitt Romney, though. Mitt Romney just like has his ideological differences or whatever. I don't really give a shit about Mitt Romney. I don't know.
What, Madison Cawthorn, the Congressman Young?
Like I pretty much don't know of like any policies that Mitt Romney supports, but it seems that he is like a leftist, except for like on the what's it called, on the economy. Except then Mitt Romney just came out the other day, and the left, by the way, like the people who I was watching, because I actually really like them, they have great opinions, such as Mike Figueredo, like they don't even accept you like pandering to them either way. They were like, a $10 minimum wage, that's all, that fucking all, motherfucker. But Mitt Romney wants a $10 minimum wage. So, like, why is he even like saying he's liberal? Like, most people, that's not at all. Like, Joe Biden didn't raise the minimum wage to $10. He is the most progressive president we've had so far. He isn't a communist, though. He didn't raise the minimum wage to $10. What do you know? Mitt Romney said he wanted to do that. So it's like, by what fucking measure is Mitt Romney, like, he's a centrist. He's like Joe Biden. And that's probably why he says, oh yeah, I actually really like Joe Biden. It's like Joe Biden seems like a nice guy. He seems like an agreeable guy, except that yeah, he tends to have takes that I really disagree with on a lot of shit. Just like pretty much everybody disagrees with him. But I mean, Mitt Romney's a left winger. He is mostly a left winger. He might have some right wing takes, but like, why would I be a right winger? Well, multiple things. I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, I'm pro death penalty, so I'm a right winger. Oh, well, I'm only pro $10 minimum wage. I don't want like 20 or like Marxism or that type of shit. I don't want workers to seize the means of production, dude. I don't want that shit, right? But like, yeah, $10 minimum wage. I'm a capitalist, dude. I'm a capitalist. But like on every, it's like me, okay, well, I'm principally against racism. Democrats are the segregationist party. I'm in favor of free speech. The left is in favor of abolishing the First Amendment. And I'm a capitalist. I think the minimum wage should be $0. And I want to abolish the current taxpayer system we have to make it actually represent the people, where everybody who pays taxes, they get a tax breakdown. They can choose exactly how, like, every penny that they pay, where it's going, so that if people don't like what the government is doing with their money, they can just boycott that on an individual level by saying, well, we're not gonna fund that. And then the media's jobs and like these public officials' job isn't to promise us to represent us as best as they can, but it's to educate us as to how to best represent ourselves in our selection of how we choose our own tax breakdown, because nobody can represent the people better than the people can represent themselves. And having somebody who's literally just employed by their donors to say that they represent the people because that's something else that they gotta do, it's like, yeah, is that gonna work, or is what I'm proposing, like libertarianism, gonna work? So there's a lot of faces on which I'm right wing, but Mitt Romney, fucking no, dude. I don't know pretty much anything about him, but from what I've heard of him, he seems to be left leaning on everything. He is Black Lives Matter sicko fan, I've heard. He is like, yeah, he's going to pander to everything, and the left ideas tend to be popular, by the way, even though a lot of them are wrong. A lot of them are right too, but like, again, cookie cutter opinion, oh well, this side versus this side. It's like, you just have a bunch of opinions, and some of these are going to be right, some of these are going to be wrong, because like, the political landscape is just such a vast array of ideas. Like, the idea that all of them are going to be right on either side, but I don't even know why you want to.
Congressman in the wheelchair, what was he? I think he was out of North Carolina or South Carolina. Anyway, he came out and said, you guys got no idea. All these Congress people are sucking dick. They're eating pussy. They're having orgies. They're doing drugs. They're as
good for fucking them. I mean, that's what I heard that college kids do, and they do cocaine apparently. I've never seen that. I've never seen college kids doing drugs, because I've heard that that's what they said about high school too. But if you go to high school, there is no such thing as somebody in high school who would peer pressure you into doing drugs. There's somebody anywhere ever who would peer pressure you into doing drugs. Nobody will ever do that. I don't know, apparently some Congress people are having an orgy. And it's like, wasn't the guy who, who the source was coming from, some guy who legit was partaking in them too? And it's like, what the fuck type of evidence is that? Like, the guy who legit is projecting. It's like, for all you know, maybe this wasn't even real, and like he sort of thought it was, and he started projecting when it wasn't even that big of a deal, because he's just insecure. It's like, we don't fucking know any of the context behind that, dude. It's like, people are people, dude. They do stuff. Wait, so I have that over here. I need to put that back in my backpack. Dude, and it's like, I'm still not ready. I still don't have my fucking toolkit. I still don't have my lighter, dude. Bro, what the fuck am I doing? Where's my lighter, motherfucker? Okay, dude. No. I do not fucking like this shit. Where is my fucking stuff? I don't know, dude. Wait, just a second. What the fuck is that doing, man? Either way. There we go, boys. We found it. We fucking found it.
They're as wild as you would expect from a frat party. And of course, as soon as he started chirping, they released all the oppo they had on him, and he was dunsies. He got kicked out of Congress. But anyway, we'll get to that and much more. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps out massively in the algorithm, and it doesn't cost you anything at all. And we're trying to continue to grow the community. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it here. So...
And by the way, if you attend orgies or whatever, or like smoke weed, or why the fuck should that disqualify you from being in Congress? I don't get that. Like, you're just doing something on your personal time. It doesn't impact, unless you're paying for these orgies with like taxpayer dollars. That's a whole different thing. I didn't hear anything about that. But if you're just going and having fun in unusual ways or something, like, I don't even know what an orgy really is. I heard it's some, like, sexual party where you do weird things. I don't give a fuck. People want to do that. Or maybe it's some gay party. People want to do gay sex. Whatever, dude. It's up to them. It's like, how on earth does, like, our Congress people doing weird things or whatever that, like, are none of our business, by the way, how does that impact how we should expect them to, like, govern our democracy and to make sure we have... it's like, those two things are not related at all. Like, they can do weird things in their free time and then do a good job at their work. Now, I don't see how that's too unfair. And I'm sure they weren't doing that on their job, so... I'm sure Cal would agree with this too, by the way. He just doesn't like them because they're Republicans, but...
With Israel and Hamas, we have some updates for you. There is now, it's being reported now that the truce has been extended by 2 days. This is according to Qatar, who...
So, this, I should probably title something else that, whatever, dude. How about, reacting to secular talk. I fucking guess. And this isn't going to get any views because I probably don't start reacting to secular talk until like really late into the debate. Okay, well, I'm definitely on substances now. My lisp is getting worse. Oh, wow. That's great, isn't it?
Who, of course...
I sound even more like a faggot. I even said the word faggot like a faggot. Wow, dude. This shit is great. Anyway.
Has been mediating between Hamas and the Israeli government. Also, they point out here in Yahoo News that Elon Musk visited Israel on Monday. Okay. That's like, I don't even know what he's doing. I guess it's because he got into hot water where he responded to some tweet where the dude said something about how Jews hate white people.
I think...
something.
I think this really showed the extent to which supporting Israel versus being in favor of the Jews or having a high opinion of Jewish people, just more like just not minding whether or not they're Jewish. Those are two very separate categories. Whether or not you support the actions of a government and whether or not you have a prejudice against like the group that this government represents, or that this government is mostly made out of. Those are two very separate things. Yeah, you'll have people like Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, and I am not gonna say either of them are anti-Semitics, but by the libtard standards that there used to be, but now it's becoming the conservative standards. The conservatives are becoming the libtards now, like using identity politics, calling everybody racist. Now it's anti-Semitic. Who would have known that the Republicans would be using that someday? Well, I guess you live and you like find a lot of things along with life. It's worth living for. Cause something like that I would have never seen coming. But yeah, anti-Semite. By their standards, I would have imagined that what a few months ago when Ron DeSantis was having his like bullshit with just book banning. Oh, what, he banned a book on the Holocaust? What was the Disney thing with? Oh, this motherfucker who's like super Republican, but he's a dumbass because he isn't a Republican. He doesn't support the free market because he's going after Disney. Why? Because the free market, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like how Disney marketed itself, and so he wants to go to war against them. And well, that didn't really work out for him. But oh well, what about the protests in Disney? People going Disney and is in his state. He pretty much went to war against them. Yeah, people who were protesting on his behalf were coming to Disney with swastikas, with swastika flags. I have like fucking pictures of this, by the way, all over. Like on Twitter, I just fucking retweeted that shit. Yeah, his supporters were at Disney, the place he's sort of at war with, just protesting with swastikas and posters that read DeSantis 2024. How about Charlottesville? Good people on both sides. Well, Trump and Ron DeSantis, like, I know Biden's just taking a toll in the polls for just like supporting Israel, but like, yeah, everybody sort of knows Trump and DeSantis will do the same thing. The reason why like they aren't dropping is because like within their own fan bases, like people already stand with them on that. But within Democrats, it seems a lot more Democrats who aren't standing by this shit. But yeah, Ron DeSantis and Trump, despite DeSantis having banned books by the whole. How about George Orwell? Never again, right? Well, clearly he doesn't stand by that statement since he wants to ban George Orwell. Oh well, what do you think that's the start of? Oh, but Ron DeSantis isn't an anti-Semite. Look at him standing with Israel. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's like, yeah, I think you can't get better proof that I never stop fucking rambling, and that, yeah, supporting Israel doesn't mean you're not an anti-Semite. The fact that you're a human being who, like, most human beings aren't anti-Semites, that should be good enough proof, but
think along
like for most
those
people,
lines,
but...
and Elon responds and he's like, "You have spoken the actual truth, sir." And there was a big backlash over.
Yeah, it just shows, like, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, this fucking climate disaster was caused by Jewish space laser guns. And these motherfuckers all support Israel. Except for Nick Fuentes. It seems like he's staying principled to his opinions. But, or maybe those were just misquotes. I mean, all of these people, Elon said that one thing once. He was like, I completely agree. Maybe Elon was high on crack and he just didn't really read it fully, or didn't understand it, or didn't. I don't fucking know what the hell was going through Elon's mind when he was saying, like, he shitposts a lot. I don't know what the fuck that was. If Elon's an actual anti-Semite, I don't know. This was just one incident. If you're going to claim like his anti-LGBTQ stuff, he's been having that rhetoric for a long time. You can find posts of him like. Just his opinion on the LGBT is pretty consistent. It's like, yeah, this is just a cult that's just being made up. It is just freaks who are just antisocial, who are just trying to find a place in life. And the Democratic Party is just, like, scooping them up for their propaganda war or whatever the fuck. And they're just pawns. Yeah, so that's what he thinks of the LGBT. He's said that multiple times. Jews... I don't know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she has every single dumbass opinion you could, like, she tries finding the most extreme shit to yell for attention, except she isn't doing that on purpose. She's just that type of person inside. She doesn't realize it. She thinks she's speaking the truth, and that gives her motivation to keep doing it when it's that embarrassing. but she's funny. It's funny to see her throw a tantrum, know that she's a congressperson. It's like, what the fuck type of like bad thing is she really gonna do? She's just one person. It's not like George Santos, like fucking hilarious. Except for the fact, like, with that dog owner that he scammed, whose dog ended up dying. It's like, if that shit hadn't happened and I was in his state, I would have voted for George Santos, because other than that, he's a fucking chimp. Like, this is nuts. This is insane. This is great. That's why I would have voted for Trump if it wasn't for Project 2025, because other than that shit, boy, he's fucking great. Yeah, these people, I guess there's like single quote, what's the third person? There's, yeah, the DeSantis, he's banned Holocaust books. I think he's just really concerned about anyone disagreeing with him. I think that's what he has trouble with. And it's, well, George Orwell was, like, his book was primarily in the idea of, well, your government shouldn't tell you what to think or to not think. It wasn't like, because specifically Ron DeSantis disagrees that the Holocaust was bad, it's that he disagrees with people wanting to get to think and say whatever they want, and writing a book to show how important that is, because he doesn't agree with that message. But, I mean, not sure if you could label any of these people necessarily anti-Semites. They haven't, like, I haven't heard them say enough things. For all I know, it's like, people say things sometimes that are just dumb and then make them sound like, but if they end up saying these things once, it's like, I didn't even look far enough into the context, because I honestly don't care. It's not like they voted for a bill that's going to result in lives being taken out, or lives being destroyed, or like just people suffering a lot. Oh, well, this person's a dumbass, and now everybody's gonna get to make fun of them. Everybody's gonna be happy. They're gonna have, like, more things to do. Great. But
Over at the 88.
Wow, I'm 2 minutes in. Let me guess. I've had at least 15 minutes of dialogue. So
Yale came after him. Everybody was like, this is the most obviously anti-Semitic post of all time, and you were agreeing with it. And then Elon responded to that by coming out the next day and saying, it's okay. I've banned the words decolonization on Twitter, as well as the phrase from the river.
yeah, and that's how they were taught, because they know that that's just the perfect scapegoat. It's like, you could just say, I'm pro-Israel, I can't be anti-Semitic. Like, those are such false equivalents. Like, just holy shit. Like, the amount of people, and Secular Talk has pointed that out, there are a lot of fundamentalist, I said that like a dumbass, fundamentalist Christians who believe that if, like, they don't give a shit about Palestinians, they're just like, just collateral, like, just like the quote that Netanyahu has used from the Bible, because he's a dumbass and he forgot which religion he's supposed to be worshipping, so he's quoting the Bible now. Sounds like a guy who should be in power. But yeah, when he was quoting the genocidal verse from the Bible, like Amalek, about Amalek or whatever, we must kill every, it's like a bunch of people, they agree with him, but what else does the Bible say? Like, at least his version, maybe he has a different version of the Bible, the Jewish Old Testament, maybe that's what it is actually. But guess what our Bible says? That oh well, the Jews once in their proper homeland, so like that's why a lot of like these Christian fundamentalists, not a lot of them, but some of them, like like that's why they want Israel to win the war and to take out Gaza, because they want Jesus to come back. And basically how the story goes, like Jesus is the only real savior. That shows the extent to which, on a fundamentalist level, like goes back to my original point. Like, why do you see Muslims being so extreme with like Christians? Just like both religions, and they were created around the same time where these hateful ideas were prevalent. Well, they have the same hateful ideas. Gay people, hatred against gay people, against like women, they're second-class citizens. Just non-acceptance of non-believers. Yeah, that's present in both of those scriptures, as you'd expect it, given the age they were created. Jesus, but as much as that's the case, people over here, as opposed to the third world, we develop more, and the countries that develop more, they tend to be like Christian in origin, and that's why the Christian really, it's like we have a secular government here in the United States. This is not a third world country. Religion doesn't run the world. This is a secular government, even though the majority of people are Christians, because that's the like where you have the Christian demographics is where you're going to have like more advanced types of society. So we've moved past this hatred of religion, because this is sort of the century of like there was the Industrial Revolution, and it's like this exponential progress that we're seeing also in just being more and more accepting. Like all of these rights that were granted to different like minority groups, that like things that would never have been done in like any time in the past back then. Civil Rights Act, and allowing women to vote, allowing gay people to marry, just all of that stuff, just back to back and so much more. It's like we live in that age with that exponential progress away from religion, and in these fundamentalist countries, they haven't moved away from that. And the reason why the Bible still hits close to home, even though we've moved on from it, is because like that is really within pretty much everyone. When people are taught to believe that like if you doubt that this God really is real, if you allow that like possibility to dwell over your head, so you maybe think about it and reconsider your beliefs, you're going to hell, motherfucker. You don't do that. It's like that's going to stick to people, and that's the tradition. But like you'll have some people which like they'll be as it really shows that this religion, especially in a free country where you could criticize such things, like the flukes of the religion will show more and more, and people have more and more time to develop talking points to like try to make it sound even more real, and then they'll have even bigger of an of an appeal with it. But like when it comes down to it, and there's also that big aspect of we're all sort of beta in nature. That's sort of what the human species is, right? And like when we're given the opportunity, because life is really just like shitty in a lot of ways. It's cruel with like there's nothing in the laws of physics that say that people have to be happier, that life has to work out in our favor in any way ever. That like all of this stuff is meant to be. It's like God makes that happen, and it feels magical. Just like kids want to believe in Santa Claus, but then like yeah, when you get to the inevitable fear of death, imagine all of your relatives, everybody who you care about the most, dying. Well, you don't have to imagine that anymore. And like injustice, well, God will take care of all of it as long as you stay a good person. Like God will take care of all of that for you, and He'll make sure that you succeed in your endeavors. And they like His like He's got life in His hands, your life in His hands, and He's gonna take care of it. You like you can pretty much just be a beta boy, right? But yeah, when you have that, the inevitable fear of death, just like everything's gonna be made right in the end. Plus, that gives you the motivation to want to be a good person. And being a good person tends to make you be happier, because when you're doing good deeds, because now you have a bigger incentive to, and like your life goes to devoting yourself to doing good deeds, you tend to be happier with yourself. So why would people want to get away from that? And indeed, religious people are happy on average. Well, the thing is, as much as people can move past those religions without completely moving away from it, such as like Christianity says quite literally, if you do not believe in God, when you die, you will go to hell. Now people who genuinely believe that this is what's going to happen, and this is all good, that this is pretty much by definition like the best thing there can be, because that's God's will, that's like a big thing. He makes a big deal out of it in the Bible. Like if Christians, by definition of them following God's word to the letter, like His word is gospel, but gospel literally, it's like yeah, you'll have what's it called, like it would make sense for these people to think, oh well, it's the all good thing to throw these non-believers in hell. So like these people, they deserve to go to hell. But is somebody who's Christian gonna tell you, think of you when like, oh, my mom just died, I'm an atheist. Oh, was she an atheist? Good, she deserves to go to fucking hell now. is that how Christians tend to think of people if they see a non-Christian person who died? If a non-Christian person who they care about died, would they feel like sympathy for that person, or would they be like, well, God fucking hates them, God's sending them to eternal torture, like the worst thing you could ever imagine, that's what God wants for them? They must be awful human beings. Good thing they're dead and good thing they're suffering now. Do they just grow that hatred in them? No. Do most Christians hate gay people? No. But again, the thing is, we've developed past this ideology and like places where it's more developed. But there are certain people like that who are going to be like, oh well, yeah, we want this whole thing to happen. We want to see Jesus come back because, and that's what the Christian ideology really preaches. So at its baseline, yeah, it is pretty radical, just like the Quran now, isn't it? Because that's what these fundamentalist Christians who actually believe in their Bible, just like you'd say of like ISIS, they actually preach their Quran. Well, that's what people who actually stand by everything their Bible says actually stand by. Well, we want this massacre to be happening. It's not because we support Israel. We just we just want God to come back so we can get to meet Jesus. Like, it's really like we want to go to heaven. And basically the story goes like Jesus comes back down, and Suckler talked about this, by the way, but like, yeah, the majority of the Jews just go to hell. They go they don't get converted. Some of them get converted, like 30,000 or what, I forgot what it is, but some of them get converted and go to heaven. Most of them just end up going to hell and get destroyed. So that's sort of what they want for Israel. Sorry Israel, I'm sure that's sort of what Hamas is saying they want of you as well. Something like that, right? Your destruction. Yeah, that sounds pretty close to your destruction. Like the fundamentalist Christians who are supporting Israel over here, a lot of them, yeah, they want Israel to be destroyed by God, by Jesus just coming back. So seems like both religions are about as extreme one as the other when you put them down to the wire as to what the religion would actually be, considering people actually follow it to the letter, right? So yeah, I think that's definitely a decent point to bring up. But anyway, I have 0 views. Of course I do.
To the sea.
I just noticed. I should just do that. Better.
Palestine.
Dude, I talk way too fucking much. This will never get views.
Will be free. So to make up for his own anti-Semitism, he cracked down on pro-Palestine protests.
Yeah, and it's just like yeah, he's just strawmanning people pretty much. Like, yeah, I forgot what he's doing is called, but being a fucking weasel, like just weaseling out of it. To be honest, it's like
very brave.
Yeah, dude. Is to prove that I'm not like a fascist, like someone who'd be pro Hitler or some shit, because shit, anti-Semite, what comes out? Oh, Hitler. That's like the most hated guy in history. Oh shit, if I'm called an anti-Semite, people are gonna think Hamas and Hitler, like both of which are dictatorial, because hating Jews, I'm guessing if that's what your political ideology revolves around, you're probably a fascist, chances are. But it's like, yeah, this person is just, Elon Musk just gonna be like, oh well, since I want to show you that I'm against fascism, and again, I'm gonna just bring you more fascism. I'm gonna censor words so that I don't have my platform reflect on the First Amendment. Just like that was my promise when I didn't even need to have a campaign promise. I was just buying the website. I was promising that. Well, that was bullshit, homie. And now he's like, you'd think people would turn on him. He came here with the promise of like delivering free speech, and when he gets in trouble over dumb controversy because he was being an idiot, or maybe because he was being an anti-Semite and an idiot, but probably just an idiot, I don't fucking know, I'm willing to be charitable towards him on that. It's like, what is he doing? He's like, oh well, let me prove your point that I'm a fascist. Well, you know what? Oopsie, I got in some hot water. Well, let me do the exact opposite of what I promised. Just bring you some fascism, because that proves to you that I'm not an anti-Semite. And it's like, dude, how does everybody not see through this? It's like, this guy really thinks that Twitter is going to work in the same platform that, like, Congress does.
Very brave of you, Elon. And anyway, to try to prove to the world.
And it's like, he's actually not censoring people like me who might criticize him on Twitter. So it's like, he's seeing this shit, dude. He's seeing it's
Well, he's not anti-Semitic. He's like, see, I'm with
And
Netanyahu.
good on him, by the way, for not being nearly as fascistic as, say, YouTube. YouTube, like, honestly, if YouTube was in charge of our government, they'd probably commit another Holocaust. These people are actual fucking just insane lunatic fascists. Like, they are fucking insanely, like, they censor fucking everything. Like, if they were in charge of the government, we would fucking have Hitler again.
I love Jews. He's a Jew. I love Jews. I don't even know what the problem is, bro. So anyway, that's what's going on with him. But the good news, of course, is that apparently this truce has been extended for a couple days. So here they say,
yeah, so this shit, I should definitely not take it to live stream. It just makes my brain fucking just... I would definitely not take this shit to live stream. And it honestly sort of sucks. Like, I'm sorry, it does. It's sort of bad.
Qatar's foreign ministry has claimed the truce in Gaza has been extended for 2 more days. Details of the agreement, which was due to end on Monday night, have yet to be confirmed, and Israel has yet to release a statement. An Israeli official had previously reiterated it would agree to an extra day of truce for the release of each group of 10 hostages. In exchange, 3 times the number of Palestinian prisoners would be released each time. Now, by the way...
Jesus Christ, you see, when you negotiate with terrorists, it's like... I wonder why people aren't... starting to tell them, oh, Israel Netanyahu's an anti-Semite now. He's negotiating with terrorists who want to end Israel. So he, like, I wonder why they aren't saying that, because it was his original punchline that they should be using against him. That'd be funny. That, oh, negotiating with terrorists is bad, but you see now you're negotiating with terrorists, and clearly it's a good thing, right? Because you're getting some of your innocents back, and that's like the only thing you wanted in the first place before you changed your fucking goals like a dumbass. But, like, yeah, seems like it works to negotiate with the only people you can negotiate with. If these people are terrorizing you, and then, like, if you have them behind bars, sure, you don't negotiate with them. Unless you need information from them that they're not want to give to you unless you negotiate. Well, if it can prevent more lives from being lost. It's like, why the fuck wouldn't you do that? Like, are you a dumbass? But I'm glad that shit finally got to his dumbass brain. But I'm sure he's gonna keep saying we don't negotiate with terrorists in the future when future negotiations will be brought up.
Hey, just to point out for everybody, because you might say, well, hold on now, why is it not a 1-to-1 prisoner exchange? I don't quite understand.
Yeah, and he brought that up, and I don't know, I think it makes sense, so I'm gonna just let him say it.
It's because in Israeli prisons, there's thousands of Palestinian political prisoners, many of them who were arrested as children and have never had charges brought against them, but they're being held indefinitely. And you contrast that with, there's about a little over 200 Israeli political prisoners or hostages being held by...
To be fair, yesterday he said all these people were innocent, so it's like... I really am seeing more and more that secular talk is prone to have a bias. Like, obviously he's not a liar, he would never lie about anything, but he is prone to have a bias. Like, oh well, if he sees on the statistics of like US or Euro Med Monitor or something, oh well, the statistics for dead kids, to him that's innocent civilians 100%. These people, there's no justifying killing them whatsoever, no matter the circumstances. These are all innocent, no matter what. And it's like, there is more nuance. And I don't think it hits him. I don't think he's even thought about it in any other way than, of course these people are innocent. Like, they're kids. Like, remember me when I was a kid? What the fuck could I have done? And it's like, these are different circumstances. And I don't think he's getting a lot of this. Because yesterday he was like, those were innocent people, now he's like, they haven't been detained. And it was like, Yeah, that's sort of what I said when I was reacting to his video yesterday during the live stream. At first, I was like, yeah, except if I was like, oh, but I know they don't really have human rights. Well, it turned out that was the case. Like, unless they are awaiting trial, but apparently they aren't going to have a trial. They're just gonna have to be there for 6 months. But if they got in there, it's like they might have been guilty of something. So it's like we can't say
Hamas.
innocent.
So they settled in the negotiations on this 3-to-1 prisoner exchange, and for the most part, the agreement has been abided by. There are some claims of the IDF violating the agreement around the edges. Like, for example, they didn't release the prisoners in the exact order that they said they were going to. It was supposed to be by how long they were in prison. That's, you know,
Yeah, it's just petty. Who cares? Let them ramble.
how they released them. They didn't exactly do that. Also,
Like, it doesn't matter if Israel, or like, apparently they also shot 1 or 2 people, but I mean, this, like, that might have happened, but either way, I would say don't kill the humanitarian pause for that. That's sort of stupid. Like, even if they did that and that's condemnable, they shouldn't get to do that. They should have consequences. They aren't gonna have consequences. Like, we live in the real world. Just don't screw this up for the principle. Hamas has no principle. Just for the sake of, oh, well, you violated the conditions of the ceasefire. Like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna say, well, we're violating it too? Because then things are going to go downhill. Like, didn't you want this? But
also, apparently the IDF was shooting at Palestinians who were trying to get back to North Gaza to get things out of their homes.
yeah, like, didn't you say like 1 or 2 people? Because if this was like a bunch of people, that'd be a whole different story. But
They claim, the IDF claims, well, part of the agreement was no Palestinian can go back to North Gaza right now. So anybody going there means you're violating the ceasefire. But anyway, so they were firing at them. Now, also, I should point out, Israel has stepped up operations in the West Bank.
And to be fair, you can't even blame these people. Like, they're just trying to go back to their home, so we're just gonna shoot them down. It's like, these people aren't even armed, and it's like, okay, so they're going back up there to die? Because why can't they go back up there? Well, probably for their own safety, I'd imagine, because you're fucking bombing that place. That's why you said you didn't want them to go there, so you're going to shoot them before they get to kill themselves? Is that really the... Yeah, that sounds like bull.
While they have this truce in Gaza. So I'm sure all of you know this by now, but for those of you who don't, Gaza is one territory and it's separate from the West Bank. Of course, you have Palestinians in both Gaza and the West Bank. In the West Bank, they suffer under what is effectively an apartheid system, according to many human rights organizations. And in Gaza, it's a little different. It's more of like a total embargo and blockade, and Israel controls the borders. So as they had a truce with Hamas in Gaza, they stepped up basically raiding in the West Bank, and there's been a number of people who've been killed in the West Bank. 4 children were just killed the other day. And in fact, there are reports that they released about 117 Palestinian political prisoners, but for the exact number they released back to Gaza, they got that exact number in new political prisoners that they took from the West Bank. And remember, Hamas doesn't run the West Bank. That's the Palestinian Authority, or Fatah, who runs the West Bank. So, look, they kind of are violating the ceasefire, but at the same time, things have still gone as if they hadn't violated it, in the sense that they're still, most of the terms of the agreement are still being abided.
That's very fair. Like, if they have since just captured pretty much as many new people as they
did by. So they continue here in Yahoo News. A Hamas official said in a phone call with the Reuters news agency, an agreement has been reached with the brothers in Qatar and Egypt to extend the temporary humanitarian truce by 2 more days with the same
Did he say the brothers? The brothers? The fucking brothers? You mean the people who did October 7th?
conditions as in the previous?
Is that like a religious means? Yeah, I probably wouldn't show them any respect if they did October 7th.
Previous truce.
Right?
On Sunday, Hamas freed 17.
Oh, Hamas was saying that. I thought Israel was saying that, and I wouldn't have been surprised, honestly.
People, including a 4-year-old Israeli-American girl.
Because they seem not to be having a problem with the higher-ups. Like, they aren't going after them now, are they?
Girl, bringing the total to 58.
When
Israel
those
has
are like the commanders, so that's who you would want to take down if you wanted to take down the whole organization. Like, start from the top, because fucking how else are you gonna start? Like, you're just gonna kill the low-down workers to end the, like, thing, instead of going at the people who actually commanded the attack, orchestrated the attack, and are giving the orders as we speak. It's like, bro, this is just, there's just so much. Okay, I'll look at that later.
Released 117 Palestinian prisoners. The truce was the first halt in fighting in the 7 weeks since Hamas attacked Israel, killing 1,200 people and taking about 240 hostages back into Gaza. Now, again, I should point out the number was about 240, but in the Israeli bombardment, Israel ended up killing at least 20, maybe more, of their own hostages. And by the way, this was one of the things that led to tremendous criticism, even internally in Israel, from the hostages' own families. They were saying to Netanyahu and the government, you say your primary concern is the hostages. It really doesn't look like it.
Yeah, like, is that when he changed his rhetoric to, okay, we don't even care about our hostages anymore, kill Hamas. That's really our goal now. Like, is that when he started?
Because you're bombing so indiscriminately, you're killing a bunch of the hostages. It looks like the thing that really matters to you the most is, quote unquote, attempting to eradicate Hamas or collective punishment to respond to Gaza. And we know that they're basically lumping them all in to the same bucket because they say, hey man, 2.3 million of you, we're cutting off your food, your fuel, your water. We're doing collective punishment by definition. Some top Israeli officials even said, we don't buy this distinction between civilians and Hamas. We think they're all basically guilty enough because they voted for Hamas in 2006, so they have it coming to them. So anyway, now I want to show you, let's move on to this really, really crazy report. So this is from Al Jazeera. There's a lot of great on-the-ground video here where you can see what it's like. This is inside.
Yeah, I heard Al Jazeera. Is that? I know there's some site that might sound sort of like that isn't reliable.
One of the hospitals where Israel attacked. Now, in this instance, I'm not talking about the Al-Ali hospital. There was a big debate. Hey, was it a misfired Islamic Jihad rocket that bombed that hospital, or was it Hamas, or was it the IDF? This is the Indonesian hospital where they didn't even bother to.
And also, to be fair, I mean, there's a lot of things that might be correlated with Hamas. I mean, to be fair, I just realized, like, a source might, like, have, you might have to doubt the information that's provided, take it with a grain of salt, if it's, come, like, from the Gazan Health Ministry. Oh, well, who wants that? Hamas. Except that the people who are taking care of the Gazan Health Ministry, like, those aren't, people who have the same, like, they, somebody said career bureaucrats, so, like, those aren't the same people who are gonna wanna lie to push a war agenda. Like, that, they don't give a shit about that. They wouldn't do that type of stuff. And that's why you find that the Gazan Health Ministry numbers have been accurate over the years, and they still are. What's it called? What was I just talking about right here?
On that hospital, or
yeah, that website. So, like, as much as my friend did point out, I just realized that this website, like, it's wait. Apparently that website is unreliable because they're corroborating with Hamas. They do post a lot of articles that are, like, directly from the IDF or from, like, Israel, just sources from Israel, and I think those sources should also be taken with a grain of salt. But yes, some source, just like some source being from Israel, doesn't disqualify, like, any of its content is pretty much meaning anything. It's just words. We can't really say that of, like, the Hamas. But it's like, it may be true. They probably are disguising it in some layer of truth anyway, because otherwise they can't really get content. But like, everybody's just gonna see through their shit. But yeah, I think I mean, yeah, those but it's like, it's inside the thing. Like, we're most of the, like, sources publishing, like, what's happening, like, you should take independent sources more than anything. Like, what do most independent sources say? But, yeah, I think it's fair to also rely to some degree on, like, those sources and what they say.
Or was it Hamas? Or was it the IDF? This is the Indonesian hospital where they didn't even bother to claim Hamas was in there. There were nearly as many reports on this, but this is the Indonesian hospital in Gaza, and you're about to see what it was like on the ground when Israel attacked there. They're going to have conversations here with people who work at the hospital. Watch this.
Main entrance to the Indonesian hospital, one of northern Gaza's largest healthcare facilities, now in ruins. Overwhelmed with the number of wounded and facing a severe shortage of medical supplies, corridors have become wards and surgeons operate on the floor. After Israeli tanks and snipers laid siege to the hospital for days, troops raided it in the early hours of Friday morning before the ceasefire came into effect.
We told them we are civilians, we have children and sick people, we are nurses, when they stormed the hospital through the main entrance. They interrogated me with 3 other nurses. They asked me if there is anyone from the resistance here. They asked me about the entrances and the exits of the hospital. We were all panicking and very scared.
The hospital has been out of service for weeks. With the extent of the damage, it's not clear whether it will ever reopen. Witnesses recall the horror of Israeli soldiers' interrogation.
So where do they storm? And that doesn't sound like horrors to me. It just sounds like they were asking them questions and they were just scared because, well, you hear of Israel, like, these people might just start shooting you. And it's like, that's true, they might just start shooting you. But if they come up to you, it's all like me with police officers, like, oh, well, you hear a lot that police officers, they're just violent, it's like, Jesus, if they're going to do all that shit to black people, if they're so heartless, I wonder what the fuck they might do to me, because if you're going to do that to some people, well, shit, you might be feel more unsafe around that person, even if you don't happen to be from that group that they don't have any sympathy towards, clearly, because if you don't have sympathy towards one group, chances are you don't have sympathy towards other groups either, but a lot less towards these other groups than normal people do. But yeah, just like cops, if they come up, like, I'm sure if a cop came up to me, I was like, I wasn't sure what I was doing wrong. I was like, hello, and they fucking started freaking out, like, just freaking the hell out on me. I would be pretty scared, but apparently these people were just like, hey, so any motherfuckers from the resistance? No? Okay, cool. How about, like, with a bunch of questions we have to ask you? So here we go, motherfucker. And number 1, it's like, okay, unless you're going, like, you didn't go into more details. So given the details you provided so far, that's what I'm assuming. But I don't know. Let's see. It just seems like the only trauma wasn't from the interrogation, but just not knowing whether these people would, like, let you off alive or not. So it's like, maybe they should have made that clear. Hey, if you are a civilian, you have nothing to fear. Don't panic. You're all good. We won't do anything to you unless you pull out a weapon while we're not looking. If you do that, you're in trouble. Don't do that. But you're obviously not doing that, so that was a joke. And there you go. Now you get people to, like,
the fourth floor of the hospital was
do that stuff. Maybe the IDF soldiers should do that stuff.
Targeted with a missile. They also
probably do.
took out of electricity and solar power. We had 25 people with broken pelvis who can't be moved. They detonated this entrance. They shot the patients inside the building. They searched us one by one and scanned.
Never mind.
We had 25 people with broken pelvis who can't be moved.
Dude, I really shouldn't be streaming while I'm like this. I couldn't even just draw a fucking square. Like, it doesn't get easier than this shit. Yeah, as you could see, this substance is not that great if you wanna, I don't know, like, be productive, not be like degenerate who's sort of just idle in limbo. Yeah, I don't know if you wanna do stuff. Maybe not the best shit, but anyway, I got one like, and I bet I just forgot having liked my own fucking shit, dude. Fuck.
They detonated this entrance. They shot the patients inside the building. They searched us one by one and scanned everyone's faces. While interrogating me, I told them that I am a nurse. They took me
The hospital has been out of service for weeks. With the extent of the damage, the fourth floor of the hospital was targeted with a missile. They also cut off electricity and solar power. We had 25 people with broken pelvis who can't be moved. They detonated this entrance. They shot the patients inside the building. They searched us one by one and scanned everyone's faces. While interrogating me, I told them that I am a nurse. They took me to this corner and beat me, and asked me so many questions about the hospital, the Israeli captives and hostages, if I know anything about them. Every question was accompanied by a slap. After that they left. We could have gone, but I promised Allah that I will never leave my patients here alone, and that I will be the last one to leave this hospital. The Committee to Protect Journalists says at least 48 Palestinian journalists have been killed by Israeli fire. Anas al-Sharif is among the few risking their lives to tell the world what is happening in northern Gaza.
Yeah, so seems like the idea tends to have deep hatred, and you saw that before when we made a big fear-mongering out of Vietnam because they wanted to live however they wanted to live, and that wasn't the way we wanted to live. And well, whatever, like, you want to do you do you, we do us, because we're our own democracy. And if you came at us trying to destroy our democracy, well, we would rightfully have a problem. Well, here we are doing that to y'all. You want communism because you're a dumbass? Oh, well, we'll fucking kill you, dumbass. No, you become the dumbass when you do this shit. But, like, yeah, when they were fucking fear-mongering over there, dude, Jesus, I go on tangent so much. But, yeah, they ended up having just a bunch of soldiers in Vietnam just doing horrible things, like, just massacring just a bunch of people. And it's like, well, that's sort of what the IDF is doing, because what the fuck type of repercussions are they going to have if they do that? None. And that was genuine hatred against Palestinians over there. Like, probably even more than, probably about as much as against the communists back then, except that then it was sort of justified to the extent of the ideology is oppressive, but, like, they wanted it in their own regime, and it's like, they wanted that shit. They fucking wanted it, dumbass. But, like, these are just people who happen to be born somewhere. It's like, it doesn't get simpler than that. Like, because they happen to be born somewhere where there's certain dictators ruling them that don't treat them well, but that also don't treat you well. You're just gonna do that to them because, like, these leaders that are oppressing you, well, you pretty much want them to be oppressing you because they're also oppressing us. So, like, that's also on your back. It's like that really is what they're doing. They have deep hatred towards these people. It's like, obviously you raid the hospital because apparently some Hamas members. It's like, for you to expect the person in there to know what the hell you're talking about, to even assume that there necessarily is Hamas in there, that person would know. It's like brutalizing them like that. And it's like, because they know that they're not gonna have any consequences to it. And it's like, that's why they do it. That's why with the Vietnam shit, probably, like, they didn't think they would have consequences. They were just driven by hatred.
The occupation forces have damaged and destroyed big parts of the hospital. There's been major destruction here in the hospital. Even equipment and supplies have been ruined by occupation forces.
US media report the Biden administration had been concerned by the ceasefire because it would allow journalists greater access to Gaza, which would, they say, expose the devastation and possibly turn public opinion against Israel. The stench of death forces people to cover their nose.
Yeah, that's absolutely dictatorial. Like, if somebody made that decision purely based on that, and that can be proven, well, that's perfect grounds to impeach Joe Biden on, by the way, if you could prove that intent, because that is that is the same level as Trump doing his fake elector scheme. Like, that is just as grave. So, if you can prove that Joe Biden did that with that intent, like, you have a scandal on the level as the fake elector scheme, so you could probably impeach Joe Biden on that. Because if Joe Biden did, like, you know, any of the crimes such as the fake elector scheme, that'd be on that level that like Trump does, he'd be impeached. Nobody, like, no way, dude, you're fucked.
Charred, decomposing bodies, children among them, are piled up in one corner.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, I should have warned you guys in advance about this, but these are all corpses. These are all corpses.
Jesus.
Not Hamas fighters. Not Hamas fighters. I'm going to get to the casualty figures in a minute, and you're going to see the reality on the ground, what it's really like.
And this is what we're paying for, by the way. But if we don't like that, we're anti-Semitic.
But this is...
And Elon Musk telling us this. And it's like, yeah, people fucking hate these people. And the thing is, that's why politics is so fucking toxic. Because at the end of the day, that's like fucking horrible shit. There's every reason to be mad at people like that. Over that. But, like, these people really are genuine. When not whoever killed those people, they should have the same treatment. They should be fucking just hung. They should be tortured and killed, whoever did this. But those who support it, like Elon Musk and all, who like, they won't support it. Like, they'll support what leads to this. It's like, they are good faith. They aren't, like, they don't see that in Salvator, that they'd probably go and not be lying about it, by the way. That's horrible, because humans are that way, but that's like, it's just so gross. And meanwhile, that would really be what they're funding. And it'd look to everybody else like, oh, well, this is what you want, buddy. It's like, politics just gets toxic, because there are horrible things that happen in the world, like this. And then we end up being the ones culprit.
Unconscionable, what we're looking at here.
No burials have taken place because Israeli snipers targeted anyone who ventured out to dig a grave.
No burials have taken place because Israeli snipers were trying to shoot people who would build graves.
That's insane.
Oh. I wonder how many war crimes were committed in just the stuff we learned in this one segment.
Yeah, this is, like, definitely the same level as, like, you know what Putin did in that city where, like, a bunch of Russian soldiers went in and just raped a bunch of, or, like, I'm sure Israeli soldiers probably raped a bunch of, like, the IDF probably raped a bunch of, like, Gazan civilians in that too. Like, I bet you they did.
Streets, schools, houses.
If they did all of that, they clearly just don't see these people as human at all.
Shops. Israeli strikes have destroyed them all. After 7 weeks in hiding, people are finally able to go outdoors. But with entire neighborhoods razed to the ground, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have no homes left. Osama bin Javed, Al Jazeera.
So look, I show you that again to show you what the toll is like on real human beings on the ground. You know, it's all abstract and theoretical when you're talking about numbers, but when you actually show the people who are living through it and what it's like, it hits differently. And so I also bring you this because I remember the heated debates at the time. The Al-Ali hospital, and people were going back and forth. Israel did it. No, it was the misfired Islamic Jihad rocket. And then you had forensic analyses that came out from a number of different places. And, you know, there was contradictory reporting. And
I fucking hate that. Why, like, all of these people, they don't get any chance to, like, I get to sit here and talk about them. And, like, they just get to die, not get to have any future, not get to have any chance. I'm just fucking sitting here. I get all the chance. Like, I'm pretty much one of the most privileged people on this earth. Like, who all is, like, people who live in America, even fucking Mexicans who are trying to come over, they're privileged compared to these fucking people. And they're just numbers. Like, at this point, they're just statistics. They're in the thousands, like, knowing the tens of thousands, just all of these people piled up. And it's like, people like me who probably would have done a lot more than I have, given, like, what I could do. And I just can't find the fucking motivation in me to fucking grow as a person. It's like, I fucking hate that shit. Like, these people, they will not get a chance. And it's like, that just reminds me that I have a chance and that I just can't be fucked to use it and make anything out of my fucking life. I fucking hate that about myself, but
An Israeli official.
I'm definitely
like,
not
"We
gonna
would
allow it to stay that way, because I get to have that chance.
Never attack.
Unlike them, unfortunately, and I get to use that to say this is wrong, because it's really sad and pathetic, because at this point, what else can I do to help these people? Like, am I gonna go over there, visit, so I can die with them? Like, what can I do to help these people? I can't do anything but just talk about them to my 0 viewers. But I guess I'm gonna do that.
A hospital. Then, within the week, Netanyahu had released a propaganda video showing, look at the Hamas bunkers underneath the hospitals. This is unconscionable. We have to do something. It's like, hold on, you were just saying the other day you'd never attack a hospital. Now you're building the argument through propaganda that indeed we have to attack hospitals. But now,
What
notice,
are they saying, like, how dare they build that under hospitals? But didn't they fucking build it? Like, didn't the IDF build it originally?
nobody's really having this conversation anymore now, are they? Everybody was
Wait, could I replay this? Am I this fucked up?
you know, there was contradictory reporting, and Israeli officials were like, we would never attack a hospital. Then, within the week, Netanyahu had released a propaganda video showing,
As if they hadn't previously
look
done
at the Hamas bunkers underneath the hospitals. This is unconscionable. We have to do something.
And it's like, they made most of these bunkers, a lot of them. Like, what on earth are they on about? These people have Down
Like, hold on, you were
syndrome.
just saying the other day you'd never attack a
I'm sorry, not Down syndrome. Down syndrome, and they will drop their children multiple times on the head.
hospital. Now you're
There we go.
building the argument through propaganda that indeed we have to attack hospitals. But now, notice, nobody's really having...
Dude, I feel like I don't watch Hassan, but some in me, maybe the drugs, are telling me that I'm starting to maybe sound a bit like him. Dude, I don't like that. Not one bit. Hassan is pro-Hamas, and it's like, that sort of takes out the entire thing, because I'm sure I don't watch him. I'm going to assume good faith from him, because most people are good faith. He seems like a very entitled person, but not a morally depraved person, as far as I could tell. I'm guessing here's the argument that Hamas is just fighting back. Well, they're oppressing their own civilians. Like, I doubt that he condemns Hamas as a terrorist organization. Like, he seems to think, from what I could tell, because, again, I don't watch him. I've seen clips that might have been taken out of context, for all I know. Again, I don't watch him. I know similar things have been taken out of context from Tucker Carlson during the Putin war, where he was condemning Vladimir Putin and Russia over and over again, condemning the invasion. Like, he was doing that constantly on his show and talking about how we should sanction Russia to actually do something instead of just moral outrage. And everybody was like, he's a Putin agent. And it's like, you wouldn't be showing him condemning Russia, would you? Just like Trump condemning fucking white supremacy. And it's like, okay, I'm that one is, it's sort of funny, but yeah, I'm guessing Hassan's take would be, oh well, like, there was the occupation and all, so that's why we were to massacre a bunch of Israelis, because, oh well, they were occupiers. Except that the thing is not like innocent civilians. Israel's claiming, oh well, all gathered, they voted for Hamas, motherfucker. Like, a few of them did. Apparently Hassan shared a photo of one person. He didn't have, like, a bunch of photos, because that would have had more weight, right? Especially given he's a public figure. Like, he probably has, like, editors taking these photos for him, finding these for him. He could have asked for them to just compile a bunch of photos to prove his point more. Didn't do that. Apparently, he had an anecdote of an occupier who was a bad person, who was a victim of, October 7th. Do you know how many people? Like, 1,200 to 1,500. Yeah, that's a lot more than whoever you've... I'm sure a lot of these people were innocent. But yeah, by the way, the IDF shot, like a... Wait, no, that was, yeah, they killed like 20 of their hostages with their indiscriminate bombing. Who could have known? I guess they finally got to Hamas in some places, right? But no, I shouldn't be saying that like that. That's like fucking horrible that they did. But I mean, what can you say of the situation but just turn it into irony or whatever? But yeah, these are people. But yeah, I think Hamas Spiker's position would probably be, oh well, Hamas is just acting in self-defense. But you can't really say Hamas is acting in self-defense without also sort of just agreeing that Israel is acting in self-defense by that definition. Since Hamas is, how are they enacting their self-defense? By just, going after cracking down on their own civilians, just using them for self-defense. Just, human shields, right? All that shit. Oh well, is that not happening? Is that fake? Or is that and either way, Hamas knew that this would happen. As a result, they did it anyway. Like, was that going to help Palestinians? So, I mean, I think if you're going to support Hamas when they started this whole thing, then it's like, yeah, they didn't stop, but they brought this escalation when they knew the next step that would come from Israel. Like, Israel would start leveling Gaza. When Hamas chose to do that, it's like, if you're gonna say, oh, well, that wasn't condemnable, they were just rebelling. When the people who chose to carry out these actions, they aren't suffering like the people in Gaza are. Like, the people in Gaza already were, and even more, like, are even more now. Like, did they think they were going to win? Did they really think they were going to win to motherfucking Israel, dude? Like, seriously? But, yeah, it's like, clearly these people didn't have the best interests of this, own citizens in mind, but,
attack hospitals. But now, notice, nobody's really having this conversation anymore, now are they? Everybody was having a heated debate around that one hospital, but nobody is talking about this. I want you to look at this number right here.
I was part of that.
Here, bottom right of this graphic from Euromed Monitor Human Rights Group. Right here, what does it say? The number of health facilities targeted by Israel on the ground in Gaza, 124. That includes
I thought it was like around 20.
46 ambulances.
Yeah, 22 hospitals, okay, yeah.
55
clinics, so yeah.
Clinics and 22 hospitals. 22.
They targeted ambulances with their missiles? The fuck did they even spot those? Like, I mean, to be fair, they're Israel.
So even if you want to grant them that one case where they were arguing over the particulars, what about the other 21 hospitals? What about this one I just showed you, where there wasn't a whiff of Hamas anywhere in the area, and they were sniping people?
Yeah, that was insane. Like, that, you cannot possibly justify that one. I'm curious to see. I don't watch Destiny at all, but every take I've seen from him seems pretty reasonable. But I haven't followed on him at all in this Israel conflict. Apparently, he's more pro-Israel than he is pro-Palestine, but I haven't been following with like any of his takes on the Israel-Gaza conflict.
People who are trying to build.
Yeah, I'm sort of curious as to how he'll respond to that, because it's pretty obvious. You're slaughtering people. They're trying to build a grave, and you just keep shooting them. Like, you're a bunch of fucking terrorists. Like, you are doing what Hamas does. This is the type of shit that's ISIS. That's the type of shit they do. The IDF was behaving like ISIS, just like the U.S. military when they did the massacre in Vietnam. They were acting like ISIS. Just like fucking a bunch of players, you see this shit.
Build grave.
And probably because what was the IDF going to do to them? Reprehend them? Say, don't kill Israel, don't kill Palestinians? As if that wasn't what the whole bombing campaign was meant for? As if the government wasn't already doing that? Oh, don't do that. Don't start shooting random innocent people. As if you weren't bombing innocent people. It's like, of course they're getting the green light on this. And that's why they're doing it, dude.
To give people...
Like, the government officials literally say, a bunch of them say, oh, well, human animals. There is no such thing as an innocent Palestinian. It's like, what do you think, like, the soldiers who are fighting on the ground, who have, like, the most hatred who they're gonna hold in them, who are, like, fighting for the cause, right? What's their rhetoric gonna be like towards Palestinians, who they're, like, fighting against? They're, like, on the ground with guns, so they probably think, oh, well, there might be a Hamas member in there. They might have even convinced themselves, there definitely is Hamas in there. We're gonna find them, dude. They're all Hamas. Some shit like that. They might as well be all Hamas. They fucking... Either they voted for Hamas, they even though most of them weren't alive back then, like, didn't have the right to vote yet because they're kids. But, like, yeah, dude, good enough for me, guilty enough for me. It's like, yeah, this was a massacre. I can't see how anybody could justify it. Because you could say, oh, well, that source, oh, it's collaborating with Hamas. Just like, there are some IDF sources, oh, well, you're going to take that seriously if it's coming from Israel. If Israel claims that Hamas violated the terms of the ceasefire, I bet people wouldn't say, oh, well, that source isn't even going to make it to Fox News. We're not even going to cover that. Ben Shapiro isn't even going to cover that website, because IDF, no. It's like, people would be, it's like, you saw videos. It is witness testimony. You see everything. These people, like, were they bombed? Does it look like, I mean, yeah, I keep forgetting, if you die in a bomb, you're probably gonna be, like, buried under the rubble, so your body could still, like, to some extent, as if it had just died from a gunshot wound, it wouldn't be, like, you didn't die from the blast, so your body isn't, like, just in pieces, but, like, yeah, I saw that.
People a proper burial, assaulting nurses. What about this one?
Did you
Look,
say assaulting when they were gunning them down?
Fact of the matter is this, man. Israel is a terrorist regime. They are.
Yeah,
it is
well,
what it is.
clearly now. Especially if these people don't, like, everyone who partook in this gets investigated thoroughly by Israel and independent sources to see what really happened, who did what, and everybody who took part in that got sentenced to the death penalty for treason and for murder, for terrorism. It's like, yeah, they are just acting on the behalf of their government because their government sort of speaks their rhetoric. Like, yeah, you could do that type of stuff. That's what we've been doing. So if they don't at least say, oh, well, no, now that, like, we were really bombing because we had to, okay? We absolutely had to. We're going to destroy Hamas, even though Hamas is in Qatar and Egypt, apparently. Oh, well, we were just gonna destroy Hamas here because, I mean, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, I just am retarded, so whatever, we're gonna do that. It's like, that whole argument goes away if, like, you can't say, oh, well, we were bombing indiscriminately because we just know Hamas might be there, so, like, we just didn't know. We would assume we're gonna tell them to evacuate. Hamas, no way they're gonna evacuate. They're just gonna stay there. Oh, but they're, like, we already know what their strategy is to, like, make us look bad. They put all the civilians in there. Oh, well, how are we going to do that? Oh, well, we have to shoot up the whole place now, don't we? Because, again, like, if these were Israeli civilians, if these were people who they consider as people under their legislature, because there's, like, every country is like, oh, well, if it's not all civilians, they might as well not even, like, they don't matter, not nearly as much as taking out one terrorist. 100, 2,000, it doesn't matter, dude. It's just collateral damage or whatever it is, because our intentions were just wanted to take out that Hamas members, because these other people don't matter, okay? We don't care about them. We wished we didn't have to kill them, but we have to, because that terrorist, it's worth all these people dying. Because, like, as if that one terrorist was possibly within their lifetime going to get to have that many more kills, that much more blood on their hands, as the people taking out to take that one person out. Like in the South Gaza, they said they wouldn't bomb South Gaza. Well, here we are, and it's like, dude, this shit.
This now is what I'm saying a defense of Hamas? No, I think they're a terrorist group too. I think you should have as a terrorist regime. They are. It is what it is. Now, is what I'm saying a defense of Hamas? No. I think they're a terrorist group too. I think you should have, basically bring up Hamas officials on war crimes. Let them rot in prison, 100%. But I'd say the exact same thing about Netanyahu. And I'd say the exact same thing about all the top Israeli officials with direct control who greenlit this massacre. Because that's what it is. It is a massacre. This is not a war. It's not a war. You have a colossal, gargantuan, humongous power imbalance.
Gargantuan. I should probably... Like, nobody's even watching at this point. So I'm guessing it means big. There are all the other words he said all day. Yeah. Why are there so many fucking words? I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, words like big, small, a lot, it's like these types of words will have so many, like good, bad, so many synonyms. It's like, dude, you don't need to, okay, let's just go over real quick the amount, like all of them, enormous, huge, gigantic must be, yeah, here we go, I'm not sure what colossal really means. I think it means some now, like something bigger than that. But okay, these 4 words here, and probably this one as well. Enormous. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Massive, I guess. 5. These 5 words do not all need to exist. Only one of them needs to exist. The English language is fucking just as retarded as you get. But either way, and the public school system is as stupid as you could get. I should make more detailed videos on those. I really wish I had, like, when I was younger. If only I knew how to... If only I had thought of that, like, back in the day, of how to make a scripted video.
How can you call it a war? There's no war. So again, I want to give you guys the numbers. I mean, we go through this almost every day, but it keeps getting worse and worse, and all these are facts. There's been now over 20,000 killed in Gaza, including 8,176 children. That's right, we've crossed the 8,000 mark with children. 4,112 women. And of the roughly 20,000 who were killed, 18,460 of them are civilians. That's over 90% civilian death rate.
Yeah, now, the thing is, how do you count civilians on that? Because, yeah, and at first when, like, Slit was the first one who brought that up to me, and I've been following, like, people like Ben Shapiro, especially when I'm on Twitter. That's when I see the people who are going to be pro-Israel, like Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, like, not really Ron DeSantis, but, people like that, Ben Shapiro, Nikki Haley, people like that who are going to be really pro-Israel, and I tend to respond to their tweets if you follow my Twitter timeline. Like, who the fuck does? But, boys, I got, a lot of tweets. I never get it. Oh. Yeah, I should look at that later, but I've noticed that, but I should probably look at that, especially since they're taking the time to, like, reply to whatever I write with. It's like, those are more things, and I hate how YouTube operates with, like, the censorship. It's utterly fascistic, but they do good things like that, and it's like, and now this gets a lot of views, like anything that might be a concern to YouTube, it gets propped up, YouTube props it up, whether it's positive or negative, and like, I like that. It's like, as much as they're way too harsh on, like, bad words, we're going to ban bad words, and it's like, the fuck, people who use your platform are adults, you do realize, like, that's not at all what people want, just a family-friendly YouTube. that's not what your customers want. You're just going for your advertisers, but the platform is like really important to many people. Many people watch YouTube every day. Many people are inspired to make YouTube channels. That's like a part of the meritocracy. Like, if you favor the First Amendment in principle, if you think it is a matter of principle, yes, the First Amendment is good. How you would operate your YouTube platform, because it does play a big role in like the extent to which the First Amendment really reflects on our society. What's it called? Practically speaking, because again, as I said the other day, how much should you expect to change public opinion if you're outside holding up traffic, holding up signs? People don't even care about the signs. They probably disagree with your message by default because they just make that association, because people are dumb, that oh, well, these people, they're holding up traffic to try to get their message. Well, fuck their message, because they don't, I didn't do shit to them. I'd probably agree with their message if they weren't fucking in the middle of the streets, versus if you put in a Twitter hashtag where people on Twitter to see people's opinions. So that's the perfect place. For all intents and purposes, if you want to enforce the First Amendment within your rights as a citizen, your liberties that you should have, such as autonomy over a platform that you own, that happens to be really big and that a lot of people rely on. It's like a service still that you provide, you have rights over that service, and you can lead it fascistically. But if you're in principle for the First Amendment, even though you should have the right in a democracy to do everything that YouTube is doing and far more, and unfortunately I expect far more to come, but although you should have these rights, if in principle you follow the First Amendment, you shouldn't be doing anything that YouTube's doing in terms of curse words. But at the same time, it's like they are doing good things. It's like they aren't just bullshitting us with just more excuses for PR stuff. This is good. Them responding to concerns, and not with a bot generated message, but with something actually insightful and that is substantive. That's great. YouTube actually is they can have the best platform in a way that they just restrict so many things from, that they just make it bad. It's not I hate comparing YouTube to France, but to be honest, I just thought that's not a bad comparison at all. I was about to say, because France happens to be it's a communist fucking hellhole, and I have no clue how I got on that tangent, but I fucking love it. But France, the communist hellhole, they have beautiful landfills. If you go over there, you see out in the horizons, all the mountains, all it looks beautiful, dude. There's so many cool places to visit. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter, because you will never make up for the fact that if you live there, oh, well, you need to go to the store, buy something. It's closed, motherfucker. It's, closed before the fucking daylight hours end. And it's it's till day out. You can't go to the store and buy shit. There's no Walmart, and the Walmart's, turning communist now. They're closing at fucking 10. And it's that's fucking retarded. They should definitely stay open 24/7. I've gone over that, but, dude, great tangent I'm going on here. But, dude, despite having the best landscape, they can't even make it a nice country to live in, because the fact that nothing's fucking open ever. It's you can't fucking function in a system like that. You'd rather live in fucking just Detroit. You could go to, I've never been to Detroit. I don't know what it's like. I've heard jokes that it's a bad place to live or whatever. Yeah, go to that fucking place. Go to that shithole. Oh, well, at least if you need to go buy some shit, what might people need late in the evening? Condoms? I mean, not me, because I'm a fucking incel, but I don't even need condoms. I've been having problems with trying to go to the store. Oh, it's fucking closed. Oh, it's what, 5:30? Dumbass, we're fucking closed, dude. And it's bro, you don't want to live in a country like that. No matter how beautiful it is, they just completely fuck that up. YouTube, in the same way, and damn, this tangent is long, has a similar, they have a great platform, great functioning platform they fucked YouTube Studios up. They had a great YouTube Studios. They really fucked it up, by the way. But maybe I just haven't really gotten used to the new things. I really love the YouTube editor. I wish I'd, like, start looking more into it, but, like, really. Also, I can't fucking trim videos. I'm just doing a YouTube breakdown on YouTube right now for some reason. Yeah, because I just saw a Twitter thing. What the fuck was I looking on Twitter for? But, yeah, they'll have a great platform, but they censor everything on it. And it's like, would you like to live in France without the First Amendment? Oh, well, you probably don't want to live in France then, right? And it's like, okay, their landscapes don't really make up for shit. And like YouTube, it's like, it's just such a great platform, right? I could do all this, but it's like, at the same time, I could get censored at any point in time. Like, this can be like everything I live for, just like my old channel that got shut down. I appealed it. And it's like, some shit like that could happen, dog. I don't know. Like, stuff happens. And you saw with, like, during the times where Leafius Hill was here, he talked a lot about that, and props to him for that. And it's like, shit was going down, shit can keep going down. If something happens, if a terrorist, apparently what started the YouTube thing was, there was a terrorist who live streamed themselves, like shooting journalists, and that live stream got monetized by YouTube. That's not anybody else's fault, but apparently from there, just like a bunch of the 9/11 regulations were just retarded. Maybe we should have had more regulations from the start, but like, it wasn't just common sense regulations. They went way over the top. In the same way, they started being like, oh, well, you can't say whatever you want anymore. And like, I'm pretty sure they had that type of stuff happen as a result of that. And it's like, they're just gonna incorporate collective punishments. Like, we know they're like Israel on that fucking shit. Like, they would be the communist fucking warmongering freaks, right? Because they just go with public opinion. That's why they're super fucking fascist woke, as we call them. You don't really see any wokeness other than from YouTube, which, to be fair, that's a pretty big entity. That's, it's like, if YouTube were the Jews, you could say that the Jewish conspiracy was real, dude, but, I mean, fuck, either way. Like, YouTube has a, dude, and now I forgot what the fuck I was saying, because I made that joke. And there's nothing to do with the video, I can't play that back. Yeah, they censor people, it's not good, but this good. Okay. Took me probably 10 minutes to say that.
36,350 injured people. And the hospital system has basically collapsed. They're talking about the Indonesian hospital here in North Gaza, but many of the other, they can't function. They can't function. They're over capacity. They don't have the medicine they need. They don't have the tools they need. According to Euromed Monitor, 67 journalists have been killed, 1.7 million people displaced, nearly 60,000 completely destroyed housing units, 165,000 partially destroyed housing units.
And yeah, by the way, if you want to know how to radicalize people more, because like, basically my friend, the last point he was making, if y'all saw, was like, oh, these people are already super radical, so what does it matter if we make them more radical by like, having them have lost loved ones and are bombing campaigns? Like, oh, well, they're already radical, they already hate us, they do it. And it's like, you might get indoctrinated in school, let's take that argument, you get indoctrinated in school to just hate the Jews and you go along with it, you always hate the Jews. Well, you probably aren't going to hate them to the extent where you'd be ready to, say, sacrifice yourself and everything you have, everyone around you, like, to destroy Israel. Like, you just taught that as kids, but like, who cares? Your main goal is just to get the best life you can ahead of you, despite the horrible conditions you're in. And like, you already have some hatred because that's because of the blockade, so there's still technically an occupation, but like, they power the water and electricity. The water is contaminated and shit. They do have some anger because of that, but mainly they just want to get to better living conditions, make the best out of that, make the best out of what they have. That's what they're primarily concerned with, because that's what everybody's primarily concerned with when it comes down to it. They have families, they have people that they just want their families to thrive and all. That's what most families want, like family values. That's what religion preaches. But anyway, like, these people, like, what the fuck was I on? Yeah, like oh my god, I'm getting. But yeah, these people once they lose loved ones, it's like they can't really have the best life ahead of them. They lost kids. They lost, like, that's irreparable. Like, from there, if they lost everything in those bombing campaigns, imagine if you were one of these people. Pretty much like half of Gaza has been displaced. Imagine if you were forced to leave your home, and like whoever the people who haven't been displaced, they're probably overcrowded and like really fearing for their lives. And they probably should still be, because what is Israel going to bomb next? Well, South Gaza, that's their next target, and they're probably having a humanitarian pause right now. They're probably agreeing to it because they're about to start bombing South Gaza, and then like they can have that on their backs. Like, look, we had this humanitarian pause. Like, what more do you want? Like, everybody's just that's the middle ground, just to prove that that humanitarian pauses. Like, as much as it's not like saying humane slaughter. Like, yeah, we're just this is humane slaughter of animals. We're just like, as if you weren't taking out a life. That's a similar comparison, but now I just forgot what the fuck I was comparing that to, which is just, yeah, humanitarian pauses. We're just going to kill you later, okay? But firstly, just humanitarian conditions matter before we kill you. So they're literally treating them like animals in the animal holocaust that we have over here, by the way. But they're literally saying, like, this is, and I just realized, this is the animal holocaust mentality that we're applying on them. So we really see them as human animals. We're being like, oh, well, these people, so like humane slaughter, we're humanely slaughtering them. We are going to say, oh, well, we're sort of applying the same thing to humane slaughter. It's like, it's humane if it's humanely slaughtered, right? Even though these animals can have self-determination as well to some extent, like a lot of those that we kill, it's like, oh, well, we render them unconscious first, so we make sure the animals get a great life before they are fucking killed, which, well, they probably wanted to keep living or something. But same thing with that. Like, that's the exact same mentality, as if these people were actual animals and they like had the same, like the actual same mental capacity. Like, obviously doing that to humans is worse. Humans have a lot more moral value in a lot of ways. It's just still wrong to do it to animals too. But like, they're actually applying the animal mentality onto humans. Like, it's fucking insane. Like, they're doing that, so we're humanely slaughtering them. That's sort of what a humanitarian pause is when ensuring they get good humanitarian standards before just massacring the fuck out of all of them. And like, they're probably, I bet your ass, they're gonna fucking use that as an excuse now. Oh, well, these people, they wanted a humanitarian pause. The fucking pro-Hamas people, they wanted a humanitarian pause, and we agreed to that. What more do they want, dude? We gave them what, if they just started bombing the South now, we'd probably be like, what, how many more? How long does this have to continue? Which is why everybody's saying ceasefire, but humanitarian pause, that's like an in-between, right? There's gonna be no outrage over you massacring people during this time frame, except you still are. Like, look at, like, maybe it wasn't at that time when they were seizing that hospital that I just watched earlier, probably before the ceasefire. But like, either way,
140 damaged press headquarters. 266 140 damaged press headquarters.
Wait.
Destroyed housing units. 165,000 partially destroyed housing units. 140 damaged press headquarters. 266 damaged schools. Many of them bombed directly. Others bombed indirectly. Also,
and the thing is, they're always gonna say, oh, well, there's in those schools there are Hamas members. Just like Hamas would say, oh, well, October 7th, there were illegal settlers in there. We just had, how could we know which one is which? Like, this is brutal, this is how decolonization works, or whatever the fuck. And it's like, Yeah, again, if you know that you're going to slaughter a bunch of people, that's not how you go by it. And they started bombing, like, probably what, on day one, I would assume. Maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody please, right? But, like, as soon as Israel, October 7th happened, I bet my ass Netanyahu just started fucking bombing immediately. And it's like, yeah, you couldn't even have conducted an investigation yet and known who did this and therefore who to go after. And it's like, I'm sure maybe some of the Hamas members, like, actually that, I just realized that makes them, like, as much sense as you could have, but I'm guessing most of the Hamas members who might, like, be in Gaza right now, they might not even have known that October 7th was going to happen, because otherwise it might have made too much noise. And, like, I don't know how many Hamas members orchestrated October 7th, but chances are, like, if there's a lot more of them, because otherwise they could have all been arrested, probably, like, a majority of the Hamas members might not even have known. I wish I could just look that up, but I know Google's definitely not gonna give me a straightforward response on that one. Like, it doesn't matter how I look it up. I'm very glad, by the way, that I recently... I wonder if there's more stuff like that. Like, if I wanted to look up, say, so it's Control F. So yeah, if I want to look up some Control F, that's very useful. I should look up if there's more, like, stuff like that to help me. I look up with, like, quotes with, like, the backward slash to make sure this word cannot be included, or it just, like, typed up something and it just gives me a bunch of, like, red herring bullshit that, no, I wasn't, searching that up. Like, give me all that's relevant. I'm just blocking off the certain results so I could filter that out or something. I use all of that, but it's definitely, like, Google's just not nearly good enough at answering straightforward questions.
By the way, UN schools
so I wouldn't get anywhere.
Been bombed, even ones that were standalone and near nothing else, and they were targeted directly by the IDF. There's 1,000 destroyed factories, 91 damaged mosques, 3 damaged churches, 446 health staff who were targeted, including 210 deaths. Israel killed 210 doctors, nurses, and paramedics. So Israel's a terrorist regime. That's what it is. There's no other way to describe it. Netanyahu should rot in prison at The Hague for the rest of his life. And look, the other thing about this is, like, I want to live in a world where international law matters. I want to live in that world where war crimes are punished.
By the way,
like,
I was just zoned out for the past, like, 20 seconds. What did he say for the past...
I want to live in a world.
Yeah.
Rot in prison at The Hague for the rest of his life. And look, the other thing about this is, like...
And again, like, there's just so many new things that keep getting brought up that we tend to forget, like, the talking points of yesterday, but they're still relevant. Like, again, Netanyahu brought us Hamas. Like, he propped them up to get... And that really plays a lot into the argument. Oh, well, like... And again, I was bringing that up earlier. Like, we're expecting this guy, like, at the end of the day, he's gonna take out Hamas, right? So... let's say he somehow succeeds, especially given how he's approaching destroying Hamas. It's like, you know that they will go and steal your humanitarian aid. Well, okay, so they're going to come steal your humanitarian aid, so you know where to find them. You just track your humanitarian aid trucks, and when they arrive, you fucking take care of them. Maybe you interrogate them to find out where more Hamas members are. Maybe they could do that, but, like, but either way, it's the best you just kill them. Well, that's a strategy. They never even fucking thought of that. And that way there's also more humanitarian aid to Gaza. And your public opinion is at least better throughout this whole conflict. And also, you're doing something good. Hooray! Like, that's, why wouldn't you do that? But, like, let's say, at the end of the day, let's say that they succeed in, because I'm taking way too long to finish sentences, and it just sounds like a big mess. It's like, I don't know. Oh fuck, the phone's ringing. That's not for me to answer. But let's say that Netanyahu succeeds in destroying Hamas. Okay, well that's step one. Well, he has to, like, since that's the end goal and he claims to have that as the he has to, especially as a diplomat, and how important this situation is. When people are asking how many more, like, he needs to have an answer, have a structured breakdown that he's going to follow. And I know things can change one way or another, but like, have some idea. Okay, well, here is when we know that Hamas is. Here is what we're aiming for. We will be done once this happens or something. It's like, we aren't going to get Hamas to agree to surrender. That's not going to happen. That's insane. Especially since, like, they aren't even the ones who, like, the people who are in charge of Hamas. They don't have to fear for their life. They're in Egypt and Qatar, and Israel's made it clear they aren't going to go over there to seek them out. So they're safe at home doing, like, having the rest doing their dirty work. So, like, they can give them any orders. Like, they're safe. They don't have pressure on them. Their public opinion's already like just a shithole. They don't give a shit. Like, they know they're retarded. They still take interviews because they have a fetish for punishment. But it's like,
I want to live in a world.
What was I?
And Yahoo should.
Yeah, the point I was making is this guy, at the end of the day, Netanyahu, and oh my god, it takes me so long to finish the sentence. Given, like, all that he's done, and given the fact that he propped up Hamas to himself stay in power, do we expect this guy, who hasn't even given us a breakdown of how exactly, like, step one, how do you know when enough is enough? How many should we expect to be enough? What is an idea of when are you gonna stop bombing? What are you trying to achieve? What is how do we have markers to be able to tell so that we can actually like, criticize this properly and see what you're doing? And it's like you don't have that, but on top of that, you don't have a plan as to, oh, how are you going to bounce that? Because obviously you can't have once you topple Hamas, who are you going to bring in to replace them as the new government? Well, you can't have a puppet of Israel because the Palestinians aren't going to accept that. They're going to get toppled. There's going to be more violence. It's like, it's not going to end there. That's just going to cascade. That's obviously not going to fix the issue. And you cannot have anybody who, say, like, in any way, shape, or form, doesn't agree that Israel is a sovereign nation, and, like, doesn't agree with the sovereignty and the right for Israel to exist. Like, you can't have any leader, you can't replace Hamas with anyone who has in their rhetoric, Israel isn't a legitimate nation. Because then, what are you going to have? Like, the same thing happen in a few years. Just wait for it. It's like, you can't start with that. But you have to have some in the just middle that the Palestinians will accept. Like, what are they going to accept? Like, now rebel again? Like, what system are you going to get to work when, like, the people who you're supposed to represent, they probably hate you now that you've done this whole bombing campaign against you? It's like, how are you going to fix that crisis? Who are you going to replace? How is that going to work? And it's like, that's the whole new thing, and they haven't even addressed that. Like, you'd think that they'd be trying their hardest to get some info like that out there, like the most substantive rebuttals, but they just keep going for the same baits of, oh, well, you're supporting Hamas if you think Palestinian people aren't human animals. Oh, well, and it's like, they just always go back to, like, the same lowball talking points as trauma and arguments. And it's like, it doesn't seem like they're trying to actually be good faith, and, like, it seems like they're hiding that because they don't want to have to actually defend themselves. That's why they're going with these trauma and arguments.
Rot in prison at The Hague for the rest of his life. And look, the other thing about this is, like,
I'm just checking that I still have 0. Yeah, what I expected.
I want to live in a world where international law matters. I want to live in that world where work.
Yeah, and you absolutely need to have that, because if you don't have that, and Slit was bringing that up yesterday with China, but this matters with anybody. if you have a world with basic things like you know, the rights that we grant to our citizens under our country, oh well, we see them as citizens. Like, Israel wouldn't be bombing the fuck like that out of their own civilians if it was like their own school and there's a school shooter. They wouldn't just bomb their own school as Hamas's like, if a Hamas member somehow got into an Israeli school and started shooting up the school, I doubt that the IDF would just bomb that school, right? Well, oh well, with Palestinians, it's like they're human animals, so what are we gonna do? It's like they're basically dead, so like we just need to take out Hamas, dude. But they wouldn't be doing that if that was their civilians. They would probably find another way and probably still win because they're stronger than fucking Hamas is by like every means. The government is legit funded by the like richest nation in the world, us, as well as probably just so many big like wealthy nations. Like, we all support them. But yeah, and with international law, you can, like, you sort of have to draw this like international, these people all matter, and also people who aren't part of the UN, the civilians, they matter too. You can't commit war crimes. And it's like, otherwise you have people who, like, within their borders, they'll care about those people's human rights, but they'll really have like segregation by country. That'll be their prejudice. Like, people of other nations who are our enemy nations, their civilians, doesn't matter. I guess we'll give a like little sweet talk so we aren't like just fully genocidal, so it doesn't sound creepy. But it's like, whatever, dude. They do collateral damage, that's fine. We would never do that with our civilians, because like, those are human beings, dude. Those are human beings. I mean, I guess, but like, terrorists, but what are you gonna do? We wouldn't have that mentality over here, and we would find a way to deal with it, and we would win. Like, again,
War crimes are punished.
Like, in a world where you have international law, like, this should have just like survival of the fittest, where like terror and reign, like peace through strength. So how do you do that? You just like attack, you just some terror on other countries, terrorize other countries, and just make your wrath, make others be afraid of you. Like, just how great of a thing. Yeah, like, as if we want to live in a world like that, right? Like, we don't. So I would agree. Took a long time to say I would agree.
Like, there's all this grandiose talk about the liberal world order and about how the U.S., we are the policemen of the world police, and we believe in human rights and justice. And look, that's not the case.
Dude, I'm so sad. I got up here to start fucking debating, and this just turned into a circle jerk stream. That's, dude, I had so much better expectations for the day.
It's just, we use that language in service of defending our allies and attacking our enemies. But the fact of the matter is, I wish we did live in a world where that stuff mattered. I wish we did. But now,
I wish I had more views on my
any semblance, any remnants, any residue of seriousness with our claims on the international scene, it's gone. It's gone. I mean, it was up in smoke when we did the war in Iraq, illegal and offensive invasion against a country that didn't attack us. We occupied.
And I just heard about that. Apparently what happened there was like, we were invading them, apparently because we just wanted their oil and stuff like that. So we said like, oh well, they did 9/11 or something, or we said, yeah, I think we firstly said they were responsible for 9/11, but then came out proof that the people who had said that had lied, had known that those people weren't responsible for funding 9/11. Maybe it was Iraq or Iran, I don't remember. But they had used as the incentive, we know that they had funded or were responsible for orchestrating 9/11, so we have to, like, they committed an act of war against us, we have to retaliate. Like, they're responsible for 9/11, we're at war so that they have somebody to blame this on, I guess, and to go to war against, so that the United States is happy. Like, yeah, we're doing something. But yeah, they lied about that. like they knew all along that that nation who they were going to war against never funded Bin Laden, but when they were called out on that, they weren't hung, sentenced to treason. George Bush, Dick Cheney, apparently those were the people who did that. That's not what happened. They got to lie again and say, well, we literally we went to war against a country, killed a bunch of their civilians for no reason, like, we made up a reason to do that whole thing. We didn't need to do that. We spent so much of your taxpayer money, by the way, on killing people who didn't need to die. And either way, you don't, like, all of these people who died, even if their country had funded 9/11 or had, like, the civilians who would have died wouldn't have been responsible either, so maybe don't go after them either anyway, whether it's the US, whether it's Israel, whether it's Hamas. None of them should do that. Bin Laden, what he did, wrong. The US, what they did as retaliation for that, wrong. The US would, like, the territorial grievances that they had that pushed Bin Laden to doing what he did, amongst other, like, despicable shit that comes with his ideology. If he didn't have those territorial grievances, he wouldn't have had the serious backing of people who have enough power to let him do such a thing to the United States, because serious things have to be involved, and on that front, he wasn't justified, but being mad, the actual civilians, unlike him, who was a rich piece of shit, but the poor civilians who would have been suffering on the behalf of Bin Laden's 9/11, just great message to part of their suffering, more suffering. But they would have had every reason to be mad, and people in power were mad over that because they were stealing their oil. It's like, either way, these people were not responsible. But that whole thing was a lie. So they attacked a foreign country based on false pretext. They committed, like, the war crime of the century. And then they said, well, we're still going to stay at war against them because now, it turns out that, what was it? So the first lie was, the second lie was, they have weapons of mass destruction. But then it turned out that they also knew that that was also a lie. And it's like, they killed thousands, if not millions, of innocent people. Like, yeah, these people should be dead. These people should have been tortured and tortured and tortured and eventually killed. Because, like, nothing will ever make up. Nothing could ever give closure to, like, all the people who they were responsible for. These people deserve closure. Will they ever get closure? No, of course not. And it's like, that's why we need international law and people actually abiding by it, because these things cannot happen, because any nation, especially once they develop this idea that we're all great, would become the victim of anyone who doesn't think that we're all great, because we're probably not all great. No nation is. Every nation is in, like, their best interest. They don't really care about others with this thing with this nationalist position everywhere. And it's like, yeah, we end up doing a lot of things, justifying anything we do, so not trying to make amends with any other country if we do something wrong, so just fueling the anger even more. That's how we make this whole thing happen.
It killed a minimum 200,000 innocent civilians, millions of people were displaced. It was all up in smoke then, but now you have that. You have Afghanistan.
But yeah, again, like, if you were displaced from your home, it's like, when half of Gaza has been displaced, imagine if, like, the United States was, imagine if you, as a United States citizen, if Joe Biden said, everybody, since we don't like the South, they're Republicans, and we have had so many Republicans, you know what, that's a great analogy. You know what, so many, like, cops, they must be Republicans because they're racist. You know how I know that? Because, like, probably in self-defense a lot of the time, but they killed black people. They killed our people. They killed, like, our woke gang, right? XD, like, that's how the left fucking sees it. Oh, you killed a black person, one of the people whose lives actually matter. That's wrong. Your life doesn't matter. You're white. And it's like, look at these police officers committing war crimes against our party. They're terrorists. Look at the right, they're terrorists. And them going on to, I mean, that's very different. That's like the members of fucking Hamas, right? So that's, I guess that's a bad analogy. But then, like Joe Biden saying, every fucking red state, yeah, everybody who lives in a red state, so that includes me, Louisiana. And by the way, that's another reason why I know that the United States isn't racist, because I live in those supposed racist states, so I would know better than anybody, right? I live in Louisiana. Nobody is racist. I've lived here since I was 6. I'm now about to turn 21. Life goes by too fast. But, yeah, I've had, now that makes it, almost 15 years to realize that people here aren't racist. But, imagine if you had Joe Biden, I carry out my sentences so long. Imagine if you had Joe Biden just displacing all of us who live in red states because he's about to bomb our houses. Then you never get... Would we take out our arms and start, like, fighting the now to have been, oppressive, dictatorial, even terroristic regime that Joe Biden would have created? Would we call Joe Biden a terrorist? Yes. Yes, we would. Like, you're displacing people. You're displacing people to end white supremacy. Now, what would you say if that was the idea? Because, like, of course, by doing that, you will create more white supremacy. And with the Israel-Gaza conflict, you'll create more Hamas members who fucking hate your guts when you do this shit. When you create this culture war, you're like, that's sort of what CNN did with, like, white supremacy. Like, oh, well, white people hate your guts, and white people listen to that, and they're like, oh, is that what you think of me? And then some, like, retarded people might be like, oh, well, is that what you white people think of me? Because when you tend to be racist on someone, people tend to want to retort in, like, in kind. So if you're being racist, they'll tend to want to be racist back. Well, if they see a lot of you being racist, this racism back will tend to become based in their mind. And that might be how they start accepting, like, oh, you know what, we've been saying that it's sort of true, bro. They are like that. They could start doing that shit, and that's sort of, like, the idea of going in there and just doing what we saw earlier to these kids. It's like, how do you think that they feel about Palestinians? How do you think they feel about the concept of an innocent Palestinian? What do you think they would have to say about an innocent Palestinian? Do you think they think it exists? So I am guessing no, otherwise they wouldn't have committed these atrocities. I doubt that they took the time to verify. Like, is this actually somebody who, you know, might they have like kids? Oh, well, they don't really have loved ones anymore who might grieve for them since they're trying to build a grave for them. Let's just shoot them too. It's like, yeah, they don't see any humanity in these people, do they?
You have the,
like, this is a cultural
illegal drone war. You have us ripping up the Iran agreement after all that work with the international community to get a great deal with Iran, and then Trump comes in there, rips it up. You have we're not good on our word anymore. Paris Climate Agreement. Trump pulled out of that too. And now one of our top allies, if not our top ally, well, our two top allies, right? Saudi Arabia, Israel. Saudi Arabia did a genocide in Yemen. We supported it, we armed it, we funded it.
And by the way, everybody, by everybody, I mean this one person, like, that's actually how I met CP Jukes. Like, yeah, I was really hoping to debate maybe him today, but, yeah, that's, like, these people, that's the first thing they were saying. Oh, well, nobody was talking about the genocide in... Well, the people who are criticizing Israel, they are. Look at secular talk. Yeah, that was under Trump. Well, guess what? Trump's been criticized too.
Israel doing a genocide in the Gaza Strip. We support it, we arm it, we fund it.
And it's like, well, that shows that Trump's genocide in Yemen, because they take campaign money. Look at AIPAC. It's like Trump was in the golf event at Saudi Arabia, the football. I forgot. It's like, oh, no way he's getting paid off by the Saudi government to do whatever he let them do over there, right? But
and so now
yeah, it seems like Joe Biden isn't immune to that. He does the same exact thing with Israel.
There's no leg to stand on to make.
Except that Israel has a much better approval rating within the United States than Saudi Arabia does. Like, even like for shaking the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's hand, Biden wouldn't have had any especially now, he wouldn't have despite the whole thing, he wouldn't have any backlash. Yeah, maybe actually he would. Maybe not before that whole thing. But like anybody like before or after that genocide, if Biden was seen like fist bumping that guy, got a lot of backlash. So I guess there is a difference to that extent. Not a moral difference. A genocide is a genocide, but I guess in how these people view it with their rhetoric and their like poisoned war brain takes, just war poisons their fucking brains. But yeah,
Make
okay,
this case
enough with the dialogue,
that
dude.
we're a serious country, we believe in international law and human rights and justice, and we're gonna make sure we enforce it properly. No, it's a joke. We're actively supporting the slaughter of innocent people, and I hate that. I hate that. And the strongest anybody's willing to even go in this conversation is what? Is to say, okay, condition aid to Israel. We're way past conditioning aid to Israel conversation. Ain't no conditions now where you should give them aid, right? It's over. It's done. It's gone.
Yeah.
Totally cut off their weapons. Totally cut off their funding from the United States.
And apparently Ronald Reagan did that. And it's like, yeah, my boy Slit was like, oh, well, he would, if Biden did that today, it's like, that would really damage our relationship with Israel. Well, no, it fucking wouldn't. Look at that in the past. Apparently that didn't. So, we have that, we're just greenlighting their attacks, but they would respond to us, and they wouldn't cut off their relationship with the United States. Oh, well, fuck the United States, dude. They didn't support it. It's like, their government is funded by us. They can't afford to do that. It's like, they did that Benjamin Netanyahu would take a moral stance and disconnect from the United States as a matter of principle. Like, this guy is driven by money and, like, just ideology, I guess. And it's, the ideology is genocidal ideology. Like, again, he's not going to be like the average Jew in his state who just probably preaches that you should love one another, because that's what most religious people preach. At least today. But here's the type who will preach kill every man, woman, child, and ox. Like, just quote a verse that says that in it. Just, yeah, I guess just don't read that particular part, because that, but you're reading out of that verse. It's like, what, do you not stand by the rest of that part of the religious scripture? Why are you quoting it, dude?
Allow condemnations to get through not just the General Assembly at the UN, which is largely toothless, but also the Security Council, which is not toothless. It's time to sanction top Israeli government officials. It's time to sanction them. Again, in a world that made sense.
Yeah, and also get rid of APEC. Because it's like, I don't get how we don't see this shit. Because with China, like, I forgot to mention that at the end of my second live stream, like, Slit was just all concerned about like, who was telling me, dude, you think Israel interferes with our election? Like, yeah, this might be bad what APEC is doing, but dude, China is just like interfering with the democratic process over here way more than Israel ever could. And it's like, well, so let's see what Israel is doing with APEC, and they have vowed this, by the way. They have said that publicly. Yeah, I just did that. They have vowed publicly. Look, any candidate who comes and disfavors us, who criticizes us, we're not gonna stand for that. We are legit going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in the next election to make sure they lose, and it works. And all of the time, most of the time, it works. They make these candidates lose. They brag about it. They openly say, yeah, we're gonna make these people lose in the next race because they're criticizing us, and they do that. And that's why we should get rid of money in politics altogether. But Joe Biden doing that, setting up a ranked voting system, come on. Is he gonna build his own grave early? Of course he's not gonna do that, even if it's the right thing in this situation. But like, he just doesn't see it that way. Again, it's not because he's a bad person. He genuinely doesn't think that's the right thing to do. Because he thinks, oh, what if that gets Trump in there? Like, what if I just can't do it, dude? No way I could do that. It just wouldn't get through Congress. As if he didn't have other means a lot of the time. Like the Biden Act for reducing the cost of prescription medication. Just like a whole amendment dedicated to he could just end the debt ceiling altogether. He had the unilateral decision in his hands, and he didn't do it when, like, he could have just done it, and his whole party would have been like deal with him. But wow, I go on tangent.
Leader of Hamas would be in prison, and so would Netanyahu. And we would have immediate negotiations and conversation for coming as some sort of a diplomat.
But yeah, what I forgot, yeah, like China, with this conversation, I forgot to mention that at the end, but as far as I can see, like Israel, and they have bragged about that out loud. If China was doing that, I would have heard the outrage. We would have all heard the outrage. Sector Talk would have covered it, but the whole GOP debate, like pretty much every single one of them, it was super focused on outrage over China. Who's more outraged over China? Who's more outraged over abortion? And it's like somehow they kept transgenders out of it. They must have had a mutual agreement that they all, who knows, maybe it's behind the scenes, they aren't even allowed to disclose it, or they'll just get, like, thrown out and nobody came out as a whistleblower. They just all agree, let's not speak of this trans stuff because that's going to destroy us. It's going to make us look like clowns and look like hateful assholes to everybody. And I don't think so, because these people actually believe what they say, so I don't know. I don't know how that went down. Wait, they did talk about it a bit. Dude, wow, I just went on that whole tangent. But, yeah, they were fixated on China a lot. Has any of these people been, like, they were all just going full on, we need to declare economic war from China, especially Vivek. Has he been taken down by the Chinese lobbies? Israel, somebody criticizes Israel that's well known. They will not win the next election cycle. They'll have hell to fucking fight to win the next election cycle, because Israel will just boost their opponent, like, as much as they can. And they will, like, dunk on them. Look at what they posted of Ilhan Omar, just slandering her as being, like, pro-Hamas person, when, like, she has condemned Hamas. And, like, they get to directly interfere with our elections. Whereas, like, I haven't heard of China doing that. Where's all the outrage over that? Because we'd be hearing it. We'd damn be hearing it if they do that.
Diplomatic solution.
Like, they're just gathering info with balloons that we fucking gunned down. What the fuck were they going to do with that info? Like, start a war against us? That we would retaliate, and they, like, every nation, and again, that's why you need international law. Every nation would, like, go with us, because they were the aggressors, and they couldn't win that war against fucking everybody, right? It's like, what on earth are they going to do with that info?
To Israel and Palestine. But we're so far away from that world, it's comical. And instead, I sit here and give you a detailed accounting of what it was like inside of a hospital where innocent people were getting slaughtered as the Israeli military were terrorists. Unacceptable. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him later, but, yeah, dude, is there anything else I should sort of react to? Oh, fuck. Dude, this is my state. I have to see this. What? Oh, dude.
The zone's on right.
I really hope there doesn't come any extreme legislation. I really hope weed doesn't get, like, banned from the, like, I heard something about vapes being potentially banned, and it's like, No. If our governor actually bans vapes, I hope genuinely that he gets assassinated. Like, that's fascism, like, to such an extreme fucking degree. Like, we're gonna ban shit that, like, everyone around here has the right
Rival
to
fight
have.
schedule is here, featuring unmissable returning.
It's like legit to give you a scale of how fascist, like, that's what France was considering doing, banning vapes. And apparently they didn't even go through with it. Like, they didn't ban vapes. They weren't even that fascist. Like, the communist third world shithole.
So as soon as I saw this story, I knew I had to share it with you guys. So this is wild. A former head of Louisiana State Police won a...
Oh, it's not about, we already had that election a long time ago. What?
North Louisiana race for sheriff by literally just one...
No. They did... Oh, I thought they told me. Wow. Oh, that's... Okay, is that the entire story? Because I might, like, just,
vote. One vote decided the election. One. So you can see the numbers here on screen. Henry Whitehorn got 21,621 votes. John Nicholson got 21,620 votes. One vote.
Well, that fucking sucks, because that means that there's pretty much as many people as you could get in an election that aren't going to be satisfied, so...
Now, look, of course, this is going to trigger an automatic recount, and we'll see.
Yeah, maybe.
What happens? I mean, honestly, you could literally flip a coin when it comes to what direction will this recount go. Because almost any time I've seen a recount, there actually is, it never comes back with like, yes, the numbers we initially reported are actually 100% accurate. Usually the numbers do change, sometimes hundreds of votes, sometimes anywhere up to like 3,000 votes, right? So they could theoretically do the recount, and then John Nicholson wins by like 2,412 votes. So like the recount, everything's going to hinge on the recount, but the fact that at least under this first count, it came down to literally one vote.
It's like people just would that. It's like
I've never.
There should be like really great candidates in pretty much everything. I mean, to be fair, there should be a both sides. So yeah, I don't know. There should be like some type of person who's just offering so much better things with just so much better experience. So like they sort of crush the game, but I don't know. There should be good competition. Like no, it should be fair, but with like everybody should be running for president. It should be like somebody who's like well informed, well read on the matters, and well able to articulate themselves, and has decent intentions and decent carry out a decent what's it called, plan of action and stuff.
Never seen anything like this before in my life.
Dude, I'm just rambling at this point. Like, what the fuck am I talking about?
Ever. So I'm curious. You guys tell me. Can you remember an election, a different election that was won by one vote? Because
yeah, no, I don't know of anything like that. Can't have the dude. This guy's a troll, by the way, almost. They started 2 wars. What in the fuck? Are you talking to Bin Laden? He started 2 wars? Dude, I'm just way too high to fucking respond to this shit right now. I'm
because I couldn't. I brought up to Crystal. I think she remembered one other.
Okay, well this doesn't matter. The tea has been spilled. Do we care?
At Jiffy Lube, it's our job to keep you moving. With a full range of services from oil changes and tire rotations to filters, wipers, and more.
Oh. Huh.
We've got what you're...
All right, guys.
Well, that's odd. Who would have known? Didn't this guy have an ad that his administration personally approved that, like, everybody started going, oh my god, he's really going after the gays. Like, they actually had the Humanist Report in that ad. And maybe even the Rational National. Like, they were like, no, we're not gonna have this gay shit. Fuck, like, this gay shit. And that was, like, Ron DeSantis' campaign ad. Trump is a woke. He's supporting the gays. He's supporting the gays back in the day when, like, it was all to say, oh, well, we're supporting the gays because, we hate Muslims and we think the Muslims they all hate gays. And so we're protecting the gays from the Muslims. Apparently that was why Trump said that. And it's like, oh, of course, dude, of course. Like, of course you're gonna attack him on that shit. Like, as if you wouldn't substantively agree. Like, what did Ron DeSantis just say? All Gazans are anti-Semitic? And, like, yeah, I mean, you seem to have the same rhetoric. You'd probably have agreed with him on that. Like, for all I know, if you were in a position of power, you were probably saying the same thing he was. We're going to protect the gays from the terrorists and all. Islam, it's radical. Like, as if people over here who followed the Quran were radical. It's like, they're not. They don't hate gay people, just like Christians don't hate gay people. And the majority of the country is Christian, yet the Bible preaches that, well, we should hate gay people. So, like, what do you want to do? In fact, we should kill gay people, just like the Quran says that. Yeah.
So, George Santos is in quite a bit of trouble. We've gone through this it's so much. It's almost like my brain sputters out and shits the bed when I try to even discuss all the charges against. First of all, he has, like, literally broken lying records. He should be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the number of lies. He makes Trump's lies pale in comparison. I mean, it's nothing compared to this guy. My favorite one, of course, is when he lied to a wounded veteran and told him, hey,
It's like, if only he just hadn't done that, I would be cheering the fuck out of him for the same reason that I would have been cheering for Trump if he hadn't gone with, like, this Project 2025 where he's, like, going to completely take over the legislative branch, make it, like, all powerful now. And, like, that is dictatorship. Like, you're orchestrating, like, a whole process through which you're going to make this legal. Like, you have like, that's your intentions. Okay, no, we can't have that anymore. We can't have that. The US turning into dictatorship, we cannot risk that. That's, like, out of the question, right? So, and if it wasn't for this, like, George Santos having done this, it's like, for that person, for his dog, like, somebody lost a dog because this person scammed him, knowing what he was doing, too. It's like, you can't support that person anymore. Like, no, I can't do that in good conscience. Even though before, like, for the trolls, like, he lied about his mom dying in 9/11, that's fucking hilarious. Like, everything else he did, fucking hilarious. But that's just, no, that's
going to raise
over the top.
money to help your dog who's sick get treatment. And he raised money and then stole it. He stole treatment for a wounded veteran's sick dog. He stole the money for that. Oh. Said he was Jewish. He's not Jewish. Said he played volleyball in college. He never played volleyball. Said he went.
All of that is fine. The extent to which he did it too. It's like,
to the specific college. He never went to that college. Said he worked at Goldman Sachs. He never worked at Goldman Sachs. I mean, the list goes on. My mom died on 9/11. His mom didn't die on 9/11. The guy is a pathological liar. Said he wasn't a drag queen. Was caught literally on video and picture as a drag queen.
That, to be fair, it's like, you wouldn't deny that, because if you say that, especially given your party, you're fucked. And he legit said on Piers Morgan, he admitted, yeah, I know I lied a lot. It was to get accepted by the base. Do you think he's gonna get accepted by the base, as he admitted was the reason for him lying on Piers Morgan? If he comes out as, yeah, I did drag, I was that tranny queer gay that y'all sorta, like, started trying to hate again, but it didn't really work because people on both sides just don't hate gay and trans people. It's like, whatever. Yeah, like, he won't really get accepted, especially by lunatics who might be like lean into his conspiracies because he lies about everything, so it could become a conspiracy. Who will like go on a tune to him because he's a Republican, and like there tends to be a lot more cult-minded people these days around the Republican figures than around Democratic figures, and like yeah, I'm sorry. Either way, that tends to make sense since the Republican figures are going to tend to be religious, and religion is a cult, to be honest, and like. Yeah, people can have conspiracies around God and how God is like, or like how they had to do like some spiritual shit, and people on the left, like they'll tend to be like, okay, you God stuff, okay, buddy. Then I don't know. They don't tend to make cults around that.
And these are just the lies. I haven't even gotten into the various criminal charges. I mean, he's getting up there into Trump territory. Trump has 91 criminal charges against him. I don't think George Santos has that many, but he has quite a few. And it's all about like fraud, stealing campaign money and using it to spend
for hookers. I don't know, OnlyFans.
Money on OnlyFans and
hush money for hookers. That's and it's like, by the way, again, you're allowed to do that.
Do Botox.
But to be honest, again, I don't think you should be allowed to do that, but I never even brought that up, I just noticed, because, like, it doesn't even fucking matter. It's like, how much money did he use for, like, hush money? And it's like, these people are donating to him, so they, like, again, that's not really, you should just have money out of politics, right? But, like, yeah, you should have small donations, but it is sort of fraudulent when you don't disclose stuff like that. But then if the person isn't disclosing every bit of their money and where it's going, you could just assume that these people have good intentions, and then it should be a public scandal, but you shouldn't, like, maybe have a legal repercussions over that, because you get some... But, like, I don't know, I definitely get the appeal to that, using it for personal finances. That should be illegal. But it's like, what Trump did isn't illegal. What George Santos did with OnlyFans, like, by that law, like, that's not illegal either. Because, like, I mean, unless this is specifically for people running for president, but why would it be? So, I mean, again, I think maybe they should make it illegal, but as of now, I mean, Tucker Carlson went over this, and he went into the specifics. Like, I remember that show, and it was like, okay, yeah, what Trump did wasn't illegal. That specific charge was definitely bogus.
And just a con man's con man. Just a total unbelievable. Anyway, so this guy is now, so he sees the writing on the wall. They tried to expel him. Congress tried to expel him once, actually I think twice, and it didn't work. But now, after the results of this new report, it's sort of like it's going to happen, right? And he knows that. And so he's like, hey, if I'm going down, I'm taking all you motherfuckers with me. So now he is going to come out and say, I know where all the bodies are buried. I've been inside the belly of the beast now. I know what these people are like.
Oh, dude, he's going to do the Trump thing with the swamp. I can't believe this shit actually works with Trump, where and his supporters are even like, yes, he is corrupt. You're right. He is the most corrupt person. He knows where all the corruption is. So, like, he's going to undo all the corruption now because he knows what it is. Like, he's the most corrupt person. He says he's going to go after the corruption when he's, like, the most corrupt Like, if anybody could do the job, he'd be better than anyone at knowing how that whole thing works. Except that, oh, well, he's a part of it, so... And it's like, even if you could say, like, oh, he's moved away from that, it's like, but he was part of it. And did he ever apologize and say, yeah, what I did, that used to be wrong, that was wrong? Like, how do you know about all of that? Was he just that smart that he never partaken in it and he just figured that out? In which case, well, we could probably figure that out. Like, have somebody else who's more competent than him running to drain the swamp. But
I know what these people do. So now we get this. Headline in Fox News. George Santos accuses colleagues of voting hungover, sleeping around in profanity-laden tirade against ethics report. Santos accused the ethics committee of targeting him unfairly while there are felons galore in Congress. Embattled New York Republican Representative George Santos delivered a tirade Friday night.
But then he compulsively lies, so unfortunately, even if any of this is true, like, what type of and I really hope Kyle will bring this up, because this is George Santos's word. Just because it makes these people who you hate, probably rightfully so, a lot, just because it makes them look bad, and the fact that like they're caught doing it often, it makes it look believable. George Santos doesn't tend to be too much into, oh, let's make this look believable, unless this is like a situation like this where he's definitely going down. That's never happened. He's never like gone to prison as far as I, like, apparently for like a few months, like he's never really faced the consequences of his actions, but he might have to here. Yeah, he's going to take this one a bit more seriously, and maybe he's lying there. Like, there's definitely some lies in this. He tends to exaggerate anything, especially something like this. You'd expect someone like him to find every little aspect, try to exaggerate it here and there. So I don't know. He probably goes into a lot of detail, and the more detail he'll get into, the more we can assume that like a big part of it is just him lying.
Blasting his congressional colleagues, accusing them of trying to force him out of Congress because he's different.
Okay. Yeah, okay, well, here we go. At least secular talk can see because he's different. That's fucking... Oh my god, the level surviving. This is golden content. Keep playing this shit.
No, different is like if you bleached your hair and made it purple. They're not coming after you because you're different.
Hey, that's
They're coming
another type of different. Are you discriminating in the differences, dude? He is different in the way that he'll take somebody's like dog money, their money to save their pet. Yeah, he'll just do that, like Gonzo. Like, some people might bleach their hair, dude. You discriminate in the differences, but okay.
after you because you're a comical criminal with a rap sheet that's longer than the Bible, okay? Jesus Christ. The New York congressman accused the Health Ethics Committee of attacking him while letting other unethical
I'll look at that later. I have to go
behavior in the House go unchecked. Within the ranks of the United States Congress, there's felons galore. There's people with all sorts of shisty backgrounds, Santos said in a nearly 3-hour conversation broadcast on X, formerly Twitter.
Yeah, 3 hours. How much fault it? And it's like none of his words could possibly have any weight, no matter what he says, unless he has specific evidence. But I doubt this motherfucker had the intelligence to gather the fucking evidence, maybe have cameras on him. How is he going to have these cameras on him? He's not allowed to record them in private fucking settings without their permission, right? So, like, how the fuck is he gonna have evidence for any of his fucking claims either way? So, yeah, and anything he says is just gonna be taken as what, like, this guy's been convicted of being the biggest liar, and like his final line is like the big truth that's being spilled now, because oh well, that's what we want to hear. Like, that'd be the most especially when it starts with some shit like this. It's like that'd be the most naive, like ridiculous, like CNN with their white supremacy type retardation you could find.
Santos also accused members of Congress of voting drunk and having inappropriate relationships with lobbyists. By the way,
also just thought of this, but if you've already, like, you'd imagine that voting isn't something that you do on the fly. Like, some could come up like last moment that makes you change your vote. Like, apparently last second the president should get no, since you're principled, you're representing the voters, you don't change your vote last second. You thought about this, you've probably even had interviews defending the vote you were going to take, and you should say that ahead of time, what you're going to vote for, and have the public possibly scrutinize you for it if they disagree with you. No, that shouldn't be up to you. You should be disclosing that and going over it and defending your statements publicly to people who are going to criticize you before you take the vote, because those are the people. They should have all the leverage they could have. So they absolutely should get to put you in that situation. You should be disclosing that stuff. That'd be more principled in general if people were doing that. There could be some exceptions, but yeah, I'd imagine you'd probably have thought of who you're voting for beforehand. So if you're drunk doing it, that's not where the decision-making progress is taking place, at the voting booth.
There
And I'm sure if you're an American, you could probably relate to that.
is no Congress.
If you're going to be drunk when you go vote for Trump or Joe Biden, I don't think you're accidentally going to forget which candidate, like, you personally,
without
support.
inappropriate relationships with lobbyists. Like, all of Congress is one giant inappropriate relationship with lobbyists. I like how he thinks
like, this is the bombshell, bro. I'm the giant whistleblower with the giant whistleblowing news, bro. Congress is corrupt, dude. Okay, dude, you're fucking autism.
This is like
great. We knew that.
He's shedding light on the truth here. Like, did you guys know there's inappropriate relationships with lobbyists? Yeah, it would be news if there wasn't. And I'm not only talking financial here, because of course the financial aspect is the legalized corruption and bribery. But I'm also talking, I'm sure there's all sorts of, a little bit of going on, a little bit of going on, a little bit of I'm sure of it. Quote, I have colleagues who are more worried about getting drunk every night with the next
And dude, what the fuck is he concerned about? OnlyFans?
lobbyist that they're going to screw and pretend like none of us know what's going on and sell off the American.
That's what he did with his campaign goals. Like, what do you call that? Like, and it's like, that's sort of like the people in Israel who are talking about this Israel conflict, defending Israel, like the officials of Israel who are defending what they're doing. Like, that's the level of logic.
And people, he said, adding that some do not show up to vote because they're too hungover or whatever the reason is.
Okay, then that's insane.
Or not show up to vote at all and just give their card out like effing.
They should have a policy, by the way, and I should comment that. And they should have a... Dude, I can't type. Like, even in school, we have this type of shit. We're in college now, and we still have that. They have no... What's it called? Nothing, the laws not enforced on them. They have no restrictions. Wow, dude. Yeah, well, either way, there's clearly not much more productive feedback I could give to this, but
Candy for someone else to vote for them.
I'm about to go soon. Go do something
This
else.
shit happens every single week. Where are the ethics investigators, he said. So, look, let me just say, George, you're kind of making a weak case, though, because all these crimes are nothing compared to your crimes. Like, because you did all that other shit I described, and I'm sure you're doing this, right?
Yeah, but people like this use to quote queer all the time. So, like, they just do that. Oh, well, they did it too, so why am I being singled out for doing it? And it's like, so you're not actually denying being in the wrong, you're just saying, that's a perfect way to, like, not have to deny you're in the wrong. Just say, oh, well, you do it too, bro. And it's like, oh, well, otherwise you would have said that secondly. You would have said, number one, you do it too, number two, you would have probably said, if you're being more genuine, number one, here's why I'm not wrong for doing this, and number two, here's why you know that I'm not wrong for doing this, or you think you're wrong for doing it because you fucking do it, motherfucker. And it's like, yeah, that's a much more efficient way to destroy someone that makes you look a lot better in public opinion. Firstly, you defend yourself, and it's like at this point, why doesn't he just admit I fucked up? I'm just fag.
So for you to be like, bro,
Nothing against fags, just something against this fag.
They're having
he stole like money from that
sex.
dog.
And like that's make it illegal to have sex. Look, I grant you, with a lobbyist, there's a level of illegality almost certainly there. But like, even if you grant him his point, you're like 7 times graduated above this stuff. Your criminality far surpasses anybody else's. But I like how he's shooting the machine gun in every direction on the way out, metaphorically, of course. All right, let's continue. Among other things, the ethics committee said it found evidence that Santos had used campaign funds for personal Botox treatment, personal meals, a $4,000 purchase at Hermes, and payments at OnlyFans. I think he also bought stuff.
Like, we know all this. It's just not really substantive. It's just fun. Now this.
No matter how hard you work, the unexpected can still happen.
I'm asking you to tell me what's in the bill because you are pushing false narratives. It doesn't matter what critics say.
Hold on. It says it bans classroom instruction on sexual identity and gender orientation.
For who? For grades pre-K through 3. So 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds.
After Florida Governor Ron DeSantis emphatically insisted his Don't Say Gay law only applied to grades 3 and under, he then expanded it through grade 12 a little more than a year after it was signed into law. In other words, it was never really about protecting kids, but that's a lie that he had to tell people in order to manufacture support for it, and it was a lie that he pushed really hard.
I can just say, as the parent of 3 kids that are age 5 and under, thank you for letting me and my wife be able to send our kids to kindergarten without them being sexualized.
Now, to be clear, when he talks about the sexualization of children, he is referring specifically to teachers who might indirectly alert students to the existence of queer people by mentioning a student who has 2 moms, for example, or by referencing their same-sex spouse. And that is exactly what ended up happening in practice. Some teachers in certain counties were instructed to remove pictures of their same-sex spouses from their desks and not wear rainbow lanyards that were given to them by the actual school district, who instructed them to not wear them in order to remain compliant with the law. Now, was this the actual requirement of the law? Well, nobody really knows due to its vague wording, but the goal here was to chill any and all LGBTQ plus speech, and that's unquestionably the effect that it had. Now, earlier this year, a teacher actually resigned after the district launched an investigation into her because she dared to show her 5th grade class a Disney movie. And this Disney movie was controversial because it featured a gay
Yeah, and that's they just directly interfering, like political involvement.
character for like 2 seconds. Now, when you take into account that, along with the racist curriculum mandated in Florida, abuse from conservative parents, and low salaries, it's no wonder why Florida is experiencing one of
Wait, what did he just say? Because that I don't think I agree with. Wait.
salaries, it's no wonder mandated in Florida, abuse from conservative parents, and low salaries, it's no wonder why Florida is experiencing one of the worst teacher shortages in the country. But despite the brazen...
Yeah, they should have. And again, like, teachers shouldn't have an immensely high salary. They shouldn't be getting paid, like a lawyer's salary. Because at that point, if you make a career like teacher be some, like, you do it for the money. But it's like, all government jobs. Maybe if you want to compete without fascism with, the companies, that are having low wages, you get your own government jobs, you pay them more so that people are either going to be drawn to work towards the government, or these other jobs are going to have to compete with them by raising their own salaries, and that's a democratic means of raising salaries. That's like what the people would want. It's like
unconstitutionality of Don't Say Gay, as well as the problems that it caused in Florida classrooms, dozens of states proposed their own versions of the law. And now, to make matters worse, Don't Say Gay could be coming to workplaces in Florida too. Because as Samantha Rydell reports, not content to only target transgender students and staff during school hours, a Florida Republican introduced a state bill this week that would effectively expand Governor Ron DeSantis' infamous Don't Say Gay rules to include government workplaces and nonprofits. House Bill 599, introduced on Tuesday by freshman Representative Ryan Chambers.
Yeah, and that's got, again, nothing to do with children.
Chamberlain
and non-profit.
Sweeping change
What the fuck?
just to Florida employment statutes to
How
declare
does he even have the authority to declare anything over non-profit?
that a person's sex is an immutable biological trait. The bill would prohibit government employees or contractors from being compelled to use a person's pronouns if those pronouns do not correspond to his or her sex. It would also bar employers from asking any worker to state their own pronouns. Even more draconian, the bill would prevent trans
Yeah, that's just fascism. Like, explicit fascism. And, like, this guy is supposed to be the anti-fascism guy. Like, he's for the anti-fascism, you let the free markets do what they want because you're not a fascist. Well, there you go. No, not anymore. Not for him.
employees from sharing their pronouns at all. Under the proposed
He's not for a free country. He says, fuck that shit. We don't want a free country. We'll make America, like, great again. He hasn't even given himself a fucking soda. It's so pathetic. Like, make America great again. What is his fucking thing? And Bidenomics. But they all fucking say that. Dude, he doesn't even have a catchphrase to his name. And it's like, Trump doesn't even need to bother making one now because he has Make America Great Again. DeSantis, Nikki Haley, did any of these people even bother making a sort of slogan to give themselves more name recognition in any way? Vivek sort of did, we will declare economic independence from China. This will get the green, not the green, but the nuclear energy guy. He said, yeah, he does have some
law. Employees and contractors cannot provide to an employer his or her preferred personal title or pronouns if, again, they do not match the work.
Yeah, so this is communism.
Assigned.
By the way, in case you didn't know, you're cracking down this much on this is that you're just fascist communists.
Sex. Chamberlain's bill would also ban any tax-exempt nonprofit or employer that receives state funds from requiring any training, instruction, or other activity on sexual orientation, gender identity,
okay, so that one, okay,
or gender expression. Instead, the bill would establish non-discrimination protections
how about people who would want to have their taxpayer money go into that because they disagree with that? How about maybe you let them put their taxpayer money to that because no fascism. Maybe you let people choose what they do with their taxpayer money. You let them choose where every penny of their taxpayer money goes because otherwise that's fascism.
For what it calls deeply held by
It's like you'd imagine the free market party would be on board with this, right? I doubt this guy would.
biology-based beliefs, a new spin on religious exemptions that are commonplace in other anti-LGBTQ+ bills and conservative talking points. So they are effectively trying to mandate the misgendering of trans people in the workplace.
Step into Wix Studio.
I mean, do I even need to?
The new web creation platform built for agencies.
Does that really demand commentary?
Now, you're only allowed to state your pronouns according to the wording of this if they match your assigned sex. But I mean, if you're a trans person and you just say your pronouns anyway, and then you declare that those pronouns match your assigned sex at birth, what are they going to do? Check your genitals? It's unenforceable. It's draconian, but the whole point of this is to chill speech. It's to push queer people, trans people in particular, back into the closet.
I really hope Louisiana doesn't become that.
So that way, they can have their little Christian nationalist utopia without queer people. That's what they want to do. Now, the good news is that Florida's legislature is currently out of session, so this legislation probably won't even be considered until March of next year. So there's plenty of time between now and then to organize against it. But the bad news is that organization might be futile because Florida does not care about what its residents want, and this has the chance of passing. And if this passes, it could literally destroy LGBTQ plus nonprofits in Florida who actually do good work. For example, Florida lawmaker Ann Escamani warns that this could effectively mean that organizations like Equality Florida would be banned from existing, which is the organization, by the way, that issued a travel advisory over Florida's hostility towards queer people. So, I mean, the lesson here is that this was never about parental
he won't let anybody who disagrees with him speak.
rights or protecting children. And they're not even pretending that's the case anymore when it comes to the Don't Say Gay law. What's the excuse for this? Are we protecting...
So we definitely do not want DeSantis to pass, no matter what. Very good thing that we won't have him as the president of our county.
Adults from the existence of queer people? Like, why would you try to justify this? What's the excuse? Oh, well, it's because we're protecting deeply held biology-based beliefs. What? They're not even using the religion excuse anymore. So what is the point? They just want to be assholes to queer people. They just want to ban trans people out of existence. And this facilitates that end goal. Now, when it comes to other anti-LGBTQ plus policies that they support, conservatives still sometimes have to pretend that it is indeed about the kids until their cause reaches majority support. Now, we've seen this with gender affirming care bans. Earlier this year, Republicans in Kansas, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Texas.
Okay, well, Jesus, then it's just insane, but hopefully y'all have enjoyed. I was just reacting to some stuff, but yeah.